of this.
He did have an iron table though, that's kind of nice. The same nest now. Spread out, sprawl. Okay.
Are we going live? We're live?
We are.
Great, okay. I'd like to call the Town of Rochester Town Board Special Budget Workshop meeting to order. It's October 24th, 2025. I'm just gonna do the roll call. Councilwoman Alba, present. Councilman Coleman.
Yep.
Councilwoman Sneezak.
Here.
Councilman Wynn.
Here.
And Supervisor Anowen is here. We're also this morning joined by our assessor Jerna Baraka and our assessor's aide Joanne Barber. Thank you for joining us. We basically just want to discuss your the budget. We have your department request, and then in the tentative budget, the only adjustment I made is to wages, because I was proposing a 4% increase for wages. So though I only adjusted the numbers based on our wage scale, which is on this green sheet. So I fit the proposal for the new position, I fit into one of our existing tiers and what that would be. And then, so that's what's in the tentative. But everything else was exactly as it was put in the department request. So what we've been doing is basically just opening the floor to you to go over your department needs and the requests, and the board will ask questions. Last night at our meeting, Councilman Wynn was asking me about what any predictions we have for next year's role, like how the reval might change. So I was hoping we would have some time also to talk about that, to think about how that might impact our tax levy in 2027, because we're dealing with a pretty, like, we're losing some revenue that the town has been relying on for a long time. So we're trying to think about how we want to pass those expenditures on to the taxpayers. So we also kind of want to see if you had any insight as to like how much percentage wise might be added to the role. So those are the two things.
Okay, so those for the budget here. So back the salaries. What I did with my salary, I proposed kind of looked at it last year when they came from Middletown to Rosendale, with a little bit of a pay cut last year. So kind of based on the 4% increase off of what I would have done getting last, at Middletown, Rosendale, Rochester. That's how we came up with my numbers there. And then put in for the deputy assessor is a full-time position there. With folks of possibly Joanne moving up into that position and replacing Joanne with the part-time assessor as a clerk for the office. That I put in $2,000 for the assessor's equipment. Thinking that we'll probably need some computer equipment and a desk for the additional person there.
I apologize, I had no intent to not include that.
Okay.
There's 0 there, but I did not have an intent to not have it, so.
Everything else is straightforward. The office supplies, I think we're good. So with what we had last year, kind of be hovering right around that. So it seemed to be increasing exponentially like some of the other stuff. Professional services, that's for the rebuild, or the contractor there that we're working with. For the assessment review, that's the same. Nothing changed. Software, we're looking at the Eagle View, is pictometry. There's an aerial view program there that I can use to let me work more efficiently, effectively.
How's
increase
So,
with the software.
yeah.
So we didn't have any of that software before.
Okay.
So that's newly included. So Gar actually used Pictometry EcoView for the flyover this year. For the reval there, so they're offering that to us somewhere. I wasn't totally quoted a specific price, but somewhere around the $4,000 range there for us to join in, get on board with the aerial program. The ACI program is an appraisal program that I use when I do STAR hearings. So we have individual appraisals to prepare for the small claim assessment review hearings there.
Jeremy, can I just interrupt you? We are paying for near map in another budget line. Will we be continuing that or will that end with this?
If we did go with Pictometry, we can discontinue
Yeah.
near map at this point
Okay.
there. And I think that would give us a good decision, then we can see kind of comparison, the Pictometry comparison near map and what we want to do in the future, whether we want to go with near map or Pictometry.
Yeah,
Well, the that was more, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
like 19,000 a year.
No.
No, it was about
I was just about to
6,500
ask
a year.
if you knew what.
There was an additional fee for the near map to do a flyover to cover like a third of the
Oh,
town, a
okay.
quarter of the town that is not covered by near map there.
And is it covered by the county?
It should be because they just did the flyover now with the Gar associates there, so the whole
Winter-
town
winter views?
was flown over.
Winter views?
Yes, yeah, leaf off, yeah.
so in 1680.452. We'll be able to reduce that down to just be what our software licenses for Microsoft are, so that budget line we'd be able to reduce. Part of what's in there right now, that $3,517, I'm on page 13, was the near map subscription, but it was not the $6,000, because it was more like 2 that we paid this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, that isn't necessarily just a full, that 4,500 is not like it's not, I think it's a totally worth. I think that or 6,000, to me, it's totally worth software costs, the cost that, but the only increase in the budget is gonna be about 2,500, just because it's in this other code.
Yeah, so yeah, that program just, it works, helped me work more effectively and efficiently. Good example was last year preparing the tenant assessment roll, going over my spreadsheet, looking at outstanding in-ground pool permits that were 3-4 years old. That have never been closed, went right down there, they could put like $3 million on the roll in an hour. I would have had to drive around for 7 hours and not seen half of it. So definitely get more effective and efficient working with that. What else we have? The public notices, we're increasing that slightly, the cost going up. Conference, education conference, increasing that a little bit there, in hopes of having the third person in. Do some money for training on the clerk. Well, as Joanne and myself is big on education, love to do lots of education throughout the year. Things are constantly changing, you know, profession, the state's constantly making changes and updates to things all the time. So education is a big thing I like to do and have my employees do. And mileage, increasing that a little bit as well. Figure there's gonna be a little more driving around this year. The reval going on, doing some property inspections. Increasing the postage a little bit as well with postage going up.
And so you think even though you're gonna have this Eagle View program and be able to pull up overviews at the office, that the mileage is still gonna increase for the program? Yes.
Ideally, with the Joanne moves up to whoever become my assistant assessor, there's gonna be more data collection going on. We're gonna be out driving around, doing property inspections. You can look at stuff so much from the aerial, but sometimes you really still need to go out and take a look on the ground to confirm what you're seeing.
Where does, legal expense go into?
That goes in, so that's it's a different budget code, so it's the attorney. 9, which is on page. I think it's below that. Yeah, it's page 9. What's the next page? And then the assessor attorney goes under, other departments. And right now, this includes, we have had quite a bit.
Yeah.
We have been using the attorney for this department, so that is inclusive. There have been quite a few things that we've been.
Is that, do you think with this tentative budget, is that adequately?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess I wanted to ask Jeremy a little bit about the reval, if you could talk a little bit about, I know that we've talked over the years about having a third person. I'm aware of that conversation, but the whole board might need a refresher on that. How the reval is gonna change the workflow, and then, yeah, if you have a sense of if we're gonna need to have like bump up. I know that you'll be busier with grievance. We have this feeling the grievance day is going to be potentially a big day. So then in terms of like after grievance day, are there gonna be, or will we have a need to bump up the attorney fee, the attorney line? I padded the attorney budget in the other council by about $4,000, just to give us a little bit of something, but if you could just maybe touch on this.
Yeah, so go back to the reval, so the first question originally was what projected what it might turn out to be, and projecting, that's really almost impossible to say, really. So when they did the 2 revals with the city of Newburgh, about a third went up, a third went down, the third stayed the same. So
I guess I'm more concerned about relative value in terms of, for the town as a whole, in terms of what things have been discovered that have not come up before. Especially including some new construction setup. I know that we've made a lot of progress in catching up with that. This one goes into nothing that we open fronts and things like that. But do you have an estimate on what the aggregate value of those new captures are? And what is that value compared to the present aggregate value for these improvements?
yeah, I don't have anything like that off the top of my head there to track. They do have an Excel spreadsheet where we track everything on that I've caught and whatnot there. And we kind of break it out. Go through it, kind of see, okay, this was caught this way, this, everything on the Excel spreadsheet, not just stuff that was caught. It's also permits and stuff that went around there as well.
Well, I mean, that helps too. What I'm trying to figure out is what is the percentage of new stuff versus just a revaluation of the existing.
Gotcha. To put it kind of in perspective, last year, I think it was around 26 million was added to the assessment roll. That's for new construction and renovations, additions,
I'm sorry, 25 to 26.
26 million, The year before that was around 22 million. The year before that was like 18 million.
And of the 25 and 26 that was added last year, what does that? What was the aggregate value? The aggregate says, the aggregate taxable assessed value, roughly.
Talking median or
The total, I'm trying to figure what the 25 million is.
Oh, right now, we're at 1.1 billion if you equalized it, right?
yes, yeah.
Let's turn that. Oops.
It's kind of been the pattern over the past several years now with the boom of construction going on, so somewhere around that 20 million, give or take, on either side, the past several years there. But coming to fall conferences and talking to assessors, it's pretty good number, be putting on a roll in the rural community. Finally, I mean, the city of Newburgh was happy to put 6 million on the roll every year. Renovations and stuff going on there.
Jeremy, can I ask a question about when things are, so obviously when there's new construction or renovations and a new COO is issued, that triggers you to go and do a new a reeval on that parcel, on that property or on that structure. What if something's condemned? Does that have the same effect? Do you go out and change the evaluation? Like if a house burns down and like it's an empty lot now opposed, or like, you know, abandoned bungalow, et cetera,
Correct.
that does the same triggering, and you also, that'll lower.
Yeah, if somebody demos a garage or house or something there, and it's just a garage on a lot there, they demo it. Garage gets removed, it gets changed to a vacant land, but it's all in the timing of things. I know some people come in, well, I demoed it in April, but I
Yeah,
can't do
I
it
just
until the
meant that,
next
like, that
assessment roll type of thing, but yes, yeah.
Same for the other side of, you know, the other side of the blade, that you also did it for if it was to lessen value from the
Right.
tax roll. And I know you probably, because it's not the as pretty number to say out loud, do you know what we took away from the tax roll from things like that at all last year or so far this year?
I don't.
Are you able, like, like next week sometime to maybe
okay.
shoot me that number if it's an easy one, like if it's a pain to try to pull it out, it's not like forget it, but if you have everything in Excel, I'm sure it's
Yeah.
probably kind of.
They'll pick that up.
You can-
It's not usually not a whole lot of demo.
I figured, but I just, if I was curious, since we're talking about how much we've increased the tax roll last year, 25 million, I'm wondering how much also decreased in
Well,
value.
that's the net,
Yeah.
that's the net increase.
Yeah.
So that includes,
The deductions.
yeah, that includes the deduction.
Yeah, so I'm wondering what we've lost in like, I'm curious what we're losing to dilapidation, what
Mhm.
value we're losing to dilapidation or to vacant, and like.
What happens a lot of
That kind of
times when they
things.
demo something, a lot of times a new structure or something gets built.
Yes,
even
yeah.
Before I can even call it a vacant land, so.
Yeah, it switches over. No,
Same.
totally get it. I'm looking more for, the governor just signed in a group of the bills that just got approved at the head of the week. Similar to the ADU tax break that you can get, they're doing a rehabilitation one for the statewide that we can adopt in the town, so that's why it's starting to get on my mind about our dilapidated and our,
But yeah, I can.
But you can pull that number for me.
Shows a physical decrease.
Thank
Yeah.
yes, I know it's not as attractive as a number of saying 25 million went on, you know what I mean, to be like, well, we lost this much within that.
And what I've been doing two past weeks with the data millers going out, people have been calling me and saying, well, this data is not there. I mean, usually it's like an old barn or something. I go out do inspections, like, yeah, that got demoed years ago, but it was never removed. They never had a permit for it, so it was never alerted to the assessor.
Oh, that brings up, I just, last night in public comment too, we had, residents come out that got the letter late and weren't able to send it back with corrections in
Still
time,
send it,
so
yep.
people, that's what I
They're still
figured, to just
accepting it,
tell
yep.
people to still send it if we interact with anyone else like that. I also, my husband just informed me we got one and put it in our mail pile, so I guess I'm to use that.
Yeah,
But-
still sending. I spoke to Gar the other day. They're still accepting them. They had to put a deadline on there, or best deadline, otherwise it just gets thrown in.
Yeah,
Forgotten
exactly.
about.
I figured that, I was like, they have to enter all of them, so I'm sure there's time for to mail it now, but great, thank you so much.
So, basically, in terms of next year's tax, our taxable value for 2020 that we'll be using for 2027, we really don't know if we're gonna have a net increase that's like hugely significant. What we do know is that we'll get everyone to the same sort of, everything will be set to where it needs to be, so the maintenance of keeping assessments moving forward from that will be much more accurate and easier to.
So speak to that. So now that we have the reval done, we really want to kind of maintain that data. 'Cause, I mean, they collected the data this past winter. I mean, that data is already changing from what they collected, it's changing every day, the time they collect it. That's why having an assistant assessor, data collector, data collector is very important to the municipality. You gotta constantly just keep up on that data, and that way things don't get sliding too far away from where they really should be. Like I said, we'll try to catch the demolitions and everything as quick as we can, construction additions, anything like that. Not everybody gets a building permit, we know that. So that's why driving around, just looking at stuff is equally important to, reviewing building permits and COs and stuff as well. So without maintaining that data, It kind of just would be wasting the money that we just spent on the revale here. We really need to have someone to collect that and constantly maintain it, keep up with things. And that way it keeps a fair, level playing field for all property owners. Everybody's just paying their assessment for what they have. Instead of if somebody having a second house that we don't know about, really everybody else is paying that person's taxes in a roundabout way. And that person goes to sell, they're not sharing any of that money. But that every taxpayer in the property in the town here. So.
Do you have a sense of what the revale will do? Factoring in equalization in terms of some of the bills like school taxes,
So.
where does it put us compared to the other towns?
That will be the question once the reval's done, they have to see exactly what the full market value of the town is, because that's what the school looks at, they take the full market value of all the towns within the municipality there. And it gets divvied up based on the market value of each town. And we have been saying our market value is X amount all these years with our E-rate dropping. So our market value has been forced up quite a bit. So I don't suspect that our market value is going to take a huge jump from where it currently is. So I suspect it's going to be that much of a shift over with the tax burden to the school district. And again, being at 100% as opposed to being at 53%, the school district comes up with a tax rate and then they equalize that tax rate for us not being at 100%. So the current tax rate is higher than where it really should be at 100%. So the tax rate would come down plus being at 100%. And again, take role for the school budget.
Is that the only tangible effect of the acquisition?
No, it has a lot of effects, actually. Putting together a PowerPoint presentation for new assessors, New York State Assessor Association putting together, and there was a nice printout there. I can share with you, it shows a little different effects that the equalization rate has. It has different school apportionments, through sales tax apportionment, funding, Moody's ratings and different things it has. So the equalization rate has an effect on a lot of different moving parts.
And you could please share, that would be great, Jeremy, because it's always. I know how it affects what I do, but I don't fully know how it, affects the greater picture, so I would love to see that, to get a full picture of the equalization rate.
And how I like to explain it to people in the town, for the assessment purposes, 100%, 53%, really smoke and mirrors. You're being taxed right now at 53% as if on the school rate, as if you were at 100%. So it's just maintaining 100% assessment roll is much easier for property owners, taxpayers understand. It's easier for the assessor to maintain it. You get less advocating and scarred grievance companies like that there filing grievances, because we're able to maintain values to where it should appropriately be.
So once you're at 100% equalization rate, and which is in full market value, and say the following year, just as a whole property value is still up by 10%. Do you adjust the valuations to reflect that 10%?
Yes, so if we get on whatever I'd like to get on is the 4-year cycle for the reassessment. So year 1 would be this year that we're working with our. Year 2 would be what I call like a trending year. So we look at different neighborhoods, okay, in neighborhood 1, and okay, maybe all the properties in neighborhood 1 are going up 10%. So I need to adjust all the properties in neighborhood 1, neighborhood 2, either they're going down 5%, maybe I need to adjust them down 5%. So that's what I can do in year 2. Year 3 would be the same. Year 4 would be looking at every single parcel.
No, but are you looking at, when you're doing those readjustments, say one part of town goes up 10 and 10% of the other goes down, like 5%, are you doing the entire town, or are you just doing
Just for those neighborhoods there that indicate,
and so in a 4-year cycle, you'll have gone through the
correct, yeah. And not only based on neighborhood, but for this market, it probably would be based on neighborhood, but for example, like in the city of Newburgh, multifamilies were hot for a couple of years, so every multifamily, 2, 3, and 4 families got an investment in 17, 18, 19, wasn't just specifically neighborhoods. But 210 single family houses got specific adjustments in specific neighborhoods. So you would have neighborhoods or some property type there. Showing there's a big increase on this specific property type. But here we're pretty much residential, so it's We're based more on the neighborhoods there.
Slightly off topic. When you guys discover something that's done without a permit, is that brought back to the building department for possible action?
I usually alert the building department too, yes. If they'll get a permit to send over to me with plans and stuff. Yeah.
Also to piggyback on Michael's question, I want to say it was the same time last year that around budget season, I believe, or maybe it was during one of our re-eval talks, but I know we touched basis on a bit of communication, like workflow issue between things getting closed out and them actually getting to you or not. We had a couple of instances of issues and those seem to resolve in the past year, just while I have you guys here. I know that's not really budget
It's
aside, but has that gotten better?
Sure, yes.
Okay, cool. I've been meaning to check in and ask that when I see you guys, but I keep forgetting to, and I was like, you know, deja vu, I was like, oh, let me ask. So good, I'm glad that that's improved.
Yes. Definitely.
And then
Well,
also,
following up on that, is there's a systemic methodology, or is it just because they happen to be doing it more efficient?
Just getting the actual response. I'm not sure.
I mean, are you get copied on the requests? COs.
I do, and we do now, yes. Yeah. In the past, that was a little bit of a struggle when I first got here. We weren't getting everything.
I'm glad the restructuring. and-
Yeah,
I'm glad the restructuring and Aaron's support and like I think that this year we've put a lot of effort into the code enforcement office as a whole, so I'm glad that that's trickled to the other departments.
Fully
with
understood
things
exactly
too.
everything you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and we didn't have it, there wasn't a system, so it took communication, and I think it'll get better. I think it'll get easier, especially they're getting a new software program that'll create full document sets for closeouts and things like that. And we should be able to work in some automated communication with and give you guys access to that too, so you can just go into the portal and track the progress of things.
They work with Municity over in
Yeah.
Watertown, City Newburgh. They can just go to Municity and see what last inspection was like, and print plans are. You know, didn't have to bother the building department so much. And everything.
And then another question, sorry, I just want to write down that. For the new position, not so much the deputy assessor position, that I think I totally understand and I support the need for that. I fully believe in making positions that make it so our employees are able to climb up through different ranks in our places, and I think that that's great that Joanne's taken the initiative to go out and do some of the teachings and learning. So kudos to you, Joanne, and thank you for investing in the town, investing back in the town by doing that is how I view it as an employee. So I really appreciate that, and same to you, Jeremy. I know that you have some required education you have to do as an assessor, but I appreciate you doing it too. But I'm more wondering about if Joanne were to, if that position gets created and Joanne's the one to move to that position, you know, we have to think. We have to advertise it and do everything normally still, of course, but hypothetically, theoretically, if you were to move to that position, I'm wondering what the assessor aide position looks like, what their responsibilities would look like then. So if you're, how that work is going to be done in the office, kind of like what your workflow is going to be between the three of you then.
So I'm looking for the aide to be 2.5 days a week. I think we could be doing basically what Joanne's doing now, processing sales, answering returning phone calls, processing the building permits, the COs. So Joanne is the one to move up, or whoever. They then would also be doing that for the 2.5 days a week, in addition to assisting me as well. Kind of a mix thing.
Kind of, yeah, kind of, could they cover for the other, okay. And 2.5 days a week, so that would be how many, 2.5 full, so 20 hours, yeah.
We make it another year without no position.
Rebound's gonna be done this year. We're gonna have a kind of a pretty busy year, and it's in the data collection really should really get underway this year. So it's gonna be a year from their data collection already come this winter,
Hmm.
so I mean, that's a year of a lot of stuff going on out there.
When do you actually need the position? Could it be like halfway through the year? The issue we have is we have a 5% increase in the budget and like 100% increase in terms of how much is being paid through taxes. There are many reasons for that, but we're just kind of looking for any ways that we.
Yeah, we're looking at options. None of these are set in stone, what we're asking, but we're asking these questions so that we have some options. So when we do have to, you know,
Let's say
grindstone
by
trim things.
April or May would be ideal. I think.
Okay, hear me out.
Okay.
I don't know. So we have another department that's requesting a seasonal position.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
That ends
Combine them,
when,
yours.
like ends right at March. So we're,
That's what I was thinking this year.
one thing we're thinking about is like, is there some, I mean, it would have to be the right person. But, that person would be helping in taxes, so they would be someone who.
It would be in the clerk's
It would
office and
be
records
for
management.
taxes.
Taxes.
So it wouldn't necessarily
Tax
be an
collector.
impossible fit. To find someone who could do both those jobs.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, if it's like a part-time clerk that.
That would
shares
save us a
duties
little bit
between
of money
departments.
because
Yeah,
for
'cause then we
next
could-
year, we would hire
It's one instead of two.
just a thought.
I got the same thing.
So there
Aaron.
would be part-time,
You.
okay.
Part-time season.
Mhm.
So we have a request for a part-time seasonal position that ends in March. That, and then that's just one, it would just save us a little bit of money, it wouldn't be, but it's just something that we could.
Well, I am just wondering too, if we could get creative. I was thinking this, and I was you, Aaron, of getting creative and maybe trying to combine those two requests into one. Position somehow to post, whether seasonal or like year round, or figuring it out in that sense.
what we're talking
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, but I think. I don't think seasonal would be the way to go. Like, I think that if we combine them, we would need to make it a year round.
We would just hire a clerk and then
Yeah,
would they be dual?
assign them additional duty.
Yeah, we can have
Part-time.
part-time, so like, for example, we have. That in my office, it's a clerk one, who can be assigned to any department, so,
They don't need two
That-
service.
that-
positions.
correct, that person now is in my office, but also is now assigned to the planning and zoning office. And it's not it's totally,
But it's
we've-
one civil service.
it's one civil, so we've talked a few. The idea has come up, like, yeah, if we had someone who could flex in these seasonal ways. One way that I'm thinking of it too is like, even if it was just for next year. Like, that might also just be a strategy for next year, especially if. Getting someone right in January isn't gonna be realistic, but. Like, if that's the request, then we should definitely consider that, but if the realistic request is. Like, have someone start at the end of March. Then that timing of that is just too. Is just too, good.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like, if we can make him a clerk, like your newest position, because I also. Like I said to Kate last night, I was running the idea of to try to cut that professional shredding line down. If we possibly purchased a better shredder and then can assign the clerk to do some of it, like cut some of that down as duties too throughout the week, like we know that like one day a week they're doing shredding for all the departments. Like that compared to $10,000 for a part-time hourly wage, I think was gonna save us more in the long run.
But both departments need that person to be working on the,
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, but during their during their seasons, like if. You're saying you only need them 2.5 days a week, if that's. That's what that's 20 hours, but if they're not always, do you anticipate always needing a full 20 hours there? Or do you think that it's gonna be mostly in the bulk of like grievance season and when assessment, you know,
Thinking always there.
always kind of consistently needed okay. All right,
Really properly do the job. Huh?
I think that is a good solve for this year too.
It's
And also
starting
gives
off
us a
this-
little time to figure it out, cause then,
Yeah, I think starting off in April, May this year is okay, because GAR is really handling a lot of stuff in January, February, and March. So we're not gonna be inundated. During those months there, but yeah, it's April. Start getting busy there, so that's when everyone will have the ability to come and talk to me. They would get satisfaction with GAR or whatever there.
Yeah.
Just like, heating up then.
Yeah, it's starting already. The mailer got it very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do need to get on this public info sessions.
Yeah, we had people come out last night. And we tried our best. Huh?
I heard from Meg this morning.
Oh, he did. So yeah, I think we should, that was one thing I was like, oh, we should maybe have some information sessions or open house.
Yeah, works with GAR right now to arrange a public meeting.
Okay.
It's in the works there.
Yeah.
Spoke to Ryan the other day about that.
Yeah.
We'd like to do at least one.
Yeah, and film it.
And I really haven't had any really bad negative pushback on it at all. I was speaking with Ryan up there with the data mailer, same thing, said that one or two people who were kind of irate, Sherry had to tell them to call back, lady called back a little later, everything's fine, they worked it out. But other than that, it's, said we'll just explain, we're trying to get the data correct.
Well,
So
I
the
think-
values can be correct.
I think that the level of pushback this time is no one knew it was the last one, because the last one was. Correcting. Yes, decades of misinformation.
yeah,
And that we were, pretty good dealt with that one, Becky Ross, so with the best that was here.
It's really bad. I mean, I was sure the BAR at the time, we did. I think 3 days of previous students. But
I know, and I was like, donuts this year.
compared to like 2, and then.
Both, we got both.
Yeah, I think.
And there's a lot
Coming
going
in, explaining everything to them. They, not necessarily like the answer, but they understand why it's, for the most part, as long as. The people who don't have the second house on the property don't know that, you don't really have anything to fear.
Mine was surprising to see how much was wrong online. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't exist on my property that's online, so,
A lot
it
of
was-
it's been that way too, people
Yeah.
come in, and that's, why that, I'm like,
I
I
mean,
go back 10 years, I'm like, well, that was there 10 years ago, so that's what we're trying to get that cleaned up now.
yeah, I mean, when we bought it, it had like 3 open permits on it still and
No.
was abandoned for 10
It's
years,
really
so.
every property owner's responsibility to make sure that their data is correct. It's not the assessors, it's the property owner's responsibility. They're supposed to come and check their data every year, make sure it's correct, and make sure they're being assessed on the correct data. And we post a notice every April 1st in the paper, saying the data is ready for review. Come take a look and correct me if I'm wrong, type of thing.
My name's not on the house.
So aside from the assessment values, has there been an increase in applications for tax exemption?
Well, I would say this question, I'm really dated with anything there. Anything crazy?
I mean, there's always people who are turning 65, who might, right,
Influx every year.
so,
Potential farmers occasionally, but not a ton.
You guys, sorry, go ahead,
All
Sal.
the tax exemption for this year.
What else? I think, 3 years, I will have one of those, apart in the past 3 years. Or whatever that was there. Yeah, there actually a lot of, with. Income limits so low, especially in the school district, the seniors, a lot of seniors have been getting kicked off of the exemptions.
Yeah.
There with the increases in social security and stuff, so we've been actually moving quite a few.
Well, and it's anecdotal. I don't know what your spreadsheets show, but I know you've both been working really hard to make sure that exemption forms are filled out accurately and you're holding applicants to the legal standard. So there have been cases where people no longer qualify, even though maybe they had in the past, it wasn't based on accurate data.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you don't get a farm exemption
Yeah,
if you're
I
not
was gonna
actually
say, have
growing
you
it.
guys seen any increases in the ag or the first responder any
Well,
of those.
I mean, the first responder, of course, we saw an increase.
Yeah, it was the
because
first year, yeah.
it Didn't exist.
Yeah, it didn't
so-
exist before, but I was gonna say, like, was there a decent amount of like, have we had has it been able to? Have you seen an effect on our local volunteers being able to come in and take advantage of it and apply? Like a decent amount since it went into effect? Wonderful.
You know, the issue we have some is where they live in the neighboring town.
Oh, and they don't have taxi.
If school has passed that yet, but they need to pass.
No, but I've been on
resolution.
Paul Bogart about it, who's a fire chief, who's on the board there now to pass it, so hopefully they will, soon. But how about, have you seen with the changing in economic times that we're under right now and like inflation and things like that? Have you seen an increase in anyone applying for STAR exemptions
Well,
this past year?
I should enhance or basic star.
Yeah, the one that's at the lower income qualifying one. You can go right through there, honey. The bathroom's right there on the left.
I just was asking.
No, you're fine. You go right ahead.
Yeah, I'd say it's a regular, it's no more, nothing out of the usual.
Nothing, not a significant jump that you noted or noticed. I was just wondering, because I know that that's one way that we can identify like our lower income families is by their stacking.
The state is changing that up now, so we won't even be able to start next year.
No,
No, really,
They're
oh,
handling all the basic star, they're handling the aging up to the enhanced star, so they know if you're aging up, they're gonna change it to enhanced star. Automatically, if not, they'll send out a questionnaire directly to the property owner there. So as they told us in 2015, assessors won't have anything to do with star anymore.
all right.
Twenty
so for-
twenty-five now.
for
we're still-
NIS, Never mind.
Maybe in
I won't have to
26.
bother you next year with that question then.
But there
Um,
are seniors who come in and ask about the senior citizens exemption,
Mhm.
and. The majority of them, are over that threshold, The people that are already currently enrolled in it, stay for the most part, except for, possibly school getting bumped out, but otherwise, yeah.
And that's those levels are set by the state, right? That's not one that we can,
Municipality sets it, so. the
so
town-
we can adjust our own for that.
The count is at 45,399, which we changed 2 years ago, from 37. The county's at 37,399, the school's at 32,399. So the school has the
That's
lowest
the
income.
one that's the-
We get a lot of calls when the school, tax bills come out.
I'll see what my neighbors.
We want to know why.
Where's the 1650 for the board of assessment? It's a stipend.
That's
they
the
get
stipend.
$300 and some food.
And so I think we need to make sure there's double sandwiches or donuts or whatever they get this year, because I think it will be a very long. Hopefully not break the 3-day record from Zolly's last reeval, but
Kind of well, they did a rebound last year. Back to 100%. Said they had about 20 people come in. Wasn't bad at all. But all the hype was on the next door app.
so,
Everyone's screaming in there, but nobody came in. And he said if anybody has questions on it, send them to my office. I'll be happy to talk to them about it now. Where everybody understands about it, unless pushback you get.
57.5 is the remainder of the dark payment.
Yes.
Thank you. I don't have anything else. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Follow up.
I feel weird.
We'll be
saying that.
setting the preliminary budget on Monday, and then there'll be a public hearing, and we have to adopt the final budget by November 20th, so we'll probably be adopting it on November 13th. So I'll have Kate circulate the preliminary budget to departments so you can see what any changes the board has made, but I'll try to communicate them also. Okay, great.
All right.
Oh, and one question because I somehow didn't put this equipment in, was that for a computer or for,
So desk and computer equipment.
okay,
The person there.
the desk that you guys were looking to order this year, it would be in addition to that?
No,
Sorry.
we did order a desk this year, but it is on back order. I do not know what's happening with that. So, plus, the $2,000 for just the computer, I don't know what the computer would be.
Yeah, that's what I was
Uh,
asking, because the laptops have been about 1,500. And fully set up for a laptop, desktop is a little less.
That's what's getting 1,400.
Yeah. But we can follow up on that desk too, because, I'm about to place an order direct. From a company, and their prices are very similar, I think it might be the same company, actually, that you're ordering from, so we could take a look at that and see. If we could get something quicker out of this, about $900.
The same desk or everything kind of
Yeah.
matches, but.
I think it might be the same company, we can look at it, I'll send you this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Great, thank you very much.
Bye.
All right. Or these stay.
Those stay or those are copies?
I need them for the next
Okay.
people, but I can bring those back, or Stephanie could print you out new ones.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, so. I wanted to review transfer station. We don't have transportation staff coming. Transfer station,
Okay.
yeah,
Thanks, Jim.
so that's another this is a bigger department that brings in a lot of fees, So. On the fee side. I did raise. I think you guys know, I like to be really conservative, like if we were like, oh, let's just raise prices, it's really difficult to know how raising a fee will impact your overall revenue. So we're on track to meet our revenue projections for, transfer station. So that is on page 2130, refuse and garbage charges. Just so you know, anything that comes from the clerk is a month off. So what I projected in the tentative budget, I am projecting that we're gonna meet the budget number by year end.
This is punch cards and permits.
Yes. They all go in the same.
We raised the permit fee last year.
Yes,
Did you
we
see
did.
any dramatic change, you know,
No,
same.
so I don't really know, again, I like to be conservative with this. The UCRA is not raising fees for municipalities. They had said that they were going to. And they decided not to. However, they are raising fees for haulers a significant amount. So we are anticipating that we will see a little uptick. So during COVID, we had like a huge, like our transfer station was just very busy. But then once we got rid of our scale and started really enforcing the permits, and we started enforcing how much garbage, we have a cap in our contract for how much we're allowed to take. We started enforcing that, we kind of saw the numbers kind of go down a little bit.
In terms of total polls.
In terms of how much expenditures we had and how much revenue we had coming in. So those two things, because the poll charges are supposed to be covered by punch card charges. Those things will rise and fall together. But we are anticipating, just based on those fees will most certainly be passed on to the customers. So there has been an uptick in curbside hauler service in our town, but it's possible that people will switch over because I think it's 15%, it's going up a lot. But they're not passing that on to municipalities because transfer stations only account, I don't want to misquote, but I think it's only 10% overall of the business that the UCRA sees. So they made a choice not to pass any of their rising costs onto municipalities, and we're the group that will be maintaining that, our same fee structure.
So the private companies are gonna be taking.
Yes, and private companies are most certainly gonna pass that on to their customer. So the question is, will people just be like, okay, or will people say, oh, I don't wanna do this anymore, I wanna go back to. Bringing my garbage in, so that's the question, I'm reluctant to plan on, I think we have the staffing to handle. If we have a little bit higher volume. I,
think your volumes are gonna increase substantially.
yeah, me neither,
Because I'm like it's like a standard monthly bill, it's like $80. And we're not talking about just sort of people are just. Hey, they might not be happy about it, but most of them need to pay it, I mean, you will see I think you'll see some people switching over to. Self-service. but-
Yeah, it's a handful of people over what, it's like $10 cumulatively.
well, what I was thinking too is even
Yeah.
also
They don't
when.
mind from.
When you're talking about the curbside haulers, there's like it's not like people who are coming in. Like we have now, who bring several bags at a time, like. You're getting a weekly, your household garbage, it's not like our bigger users, so we might see an uptick, we might see a higher user count. But I don't wanna count on more revenue, I don't wanna
Yeah.
budget for more revenue.
What page is the expenses on for transportation?
It's a 23. Okay, so that covers that now. Wages are, I did, like I proposed, bump the transfer station staff up to. The next level pay scale, so their wage increase will be more than the 4%, so that's what you're seeing there. For equipment, I had I don't know why I'm doing this, so they have a bunch of money left in their equipment line. And I pretty much think that. Whatever we don't spend. In the line now is gonna cover what we need for next year. Because we're investing in all the equipment that has been requested this year. So probably the most that I would need to add to that is $1,000, so. That would be where I change that equipment line, because we wanna plan on getting more grabbers. And then I wanna budget to replace the gate there.
About the shed,
Okay, well
that's a
Do you guys-
comprehensive.
I wanna,
Right.
I do wanna talk about that today, but if we could have that at the end
Sure.
of these. Everything else, so the professional technical line. That needs to go up. To whatever I just got my quote for, so I'm just gonna say 7,000 and I'll put the actual number in on Sunday for the preliminary budget.
What is that covering?
That is the landfill monitoring report.
That now.
Yes. So for the UCRA MSW, that is the charge of the garbage. This year I had budgeted $140,000 in expenditures. We're on track, I think a liberal. Guess on that is gonna be 124,000 by the year end. So I'm budgeting 130,000 for that.
And let me pull your back on the page. Do you know about how many permits we sell a year, or like
1,100?
1,100, and do we know how many are like monthly users or?
I don't, no, we can pull,
Cards we sell a year, maybe?
yeah, I don't have. Those numbers are all aggregated in that one
that
line.
one
that we're
line?
looking at. We can pull those numbers, I just don't have them.
I'm just trying to think of like maybe a more creative way to do the fee scaling for it that might balance it out and make more sense to the residents also. I think if we possibly did just like a monthly fee membership and or like a discounted yearly amount for your dumping, like if we gave that as an option where it would be similar to when people have the curbside, they're paying one amount every month. That it might be able to help us cover our costs better and more plan them better if it's a monthly fee and then it's instead of the punch cards, maybe like. I just wanna look at those numbers to see if there's something creative we might be able to do there to
If
try
you
to
have,
balance that
if you have a
department more.
monthly fee, would that be for unlimited?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking for like a certain, yeah, like an unlimited amount of like so much like. Is what I'm trying to think of. That's why I'm wondering how many like users we had. How many permits we gave out for the full
Me on the
year.
side, what
Yeah.
I do is I pull with 5 neighbors and have one neighbor dump 20 bags a week. Because I take extra to gigs. That's what I pay for.
Well, it could be that they can dump 1 can a week. You know what I mean? It could be a limit of like one, 55-gallon
Mhm.
can a week. You get 1 can a week for this monthly fee plus your recycling for free. I'm just trying to think of a way where it's a more
Yeah,
actual, like trackable, easier for us to plan revenue than, because the punch cards, what they're $8?
They're 10 now.
10 now, yeah, I was like, I know we changed them, I couldn't remember. But it just seems like a.
We're also getting the float on punch cards.
Hmm?
We're also getting the float on the punch cards, because a lot of people. I mean, one thing that we're not able to assess is how much do we have in unused punch card liabilities.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying too, like, some families wouldn't go every week, but they would still pay the monthly membership, because it's easier than trying to remember where you put your punch card every time, and so they might go only once a month, but they still pay for the month to make it easier on their own account to manage, Um. Just a food for thought thing, I don't need those numbers like instantly right now, Erin, like I can.
I will say it's very predictable, like I understand that the idea that it doesn't feel predictable, but our monthly sales of punch cards are. Like we track our weekly usage by day, it's
Oh, okay.
very predictable, so I know
So
what
what's our
all.
weekly usage then?
I know what all the revenue numbers are broken down by day. And it's very predictable. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays have like very predictable amounts of money coming in. It doesn't like. We've, in the past, what happened in this budget, or in the past few budgets, is we had been operating at an understaffed level, so we had 2 employees staffing the entire transfer station by themselves for 2 years.
Yeah.
And they were getting paid $17 an hour. So when we switched to more appropriate staffing levels, that's when it used to be a break even. So right now, the projected revenue is 245,000 and expenditures for the full department are 364,000. So, or 319,000. So we used to see that those were even with each other.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to see if there's a way to creatively balance it, but I guess it's really to incentivize people to go to the.
Right, and I would say also like if you. We used to budget for 3 employees and now we budget for 4. One thought that I had is not gonna have an impact of the overall. Budget, but I am thinking about taking one of those positions and splitting it between buildings and grounds.
Yes.
And then
So
having
anything like that.
3 people, 4 days a week. And
It would take it out of this.
then a 4th person would be there Fridays and Saturdays.
It would change this department's
It would
budget, but
change it.
not overall.
It would be about $26,000. That we would move that, but it wouldn't change.
I do have another idea for when we talk about the buildings there.
We also have planned for the transfer station, this idea of having monthly events. So having a repair cafe event having, like, encouraging reuse and recycling, some educational events, maybe composting. So we've been talking,
That's my idea. I think that we should replace what the buildings we're down with. I think we should offer free compost. We should offer composting at the transfer station.
we do,
We do with the upper.
yeah, it's free. We also,
Get it. Drop off.
there's also some pilot programs that might be coming in about a year to, for mattresses and composting with an aerated static pile. But, so I did pad the labor hours a bit, because we were talking about having those monthly events like on a day. Some of them we were thinking would be good to have it on a day where the transfer station's not open. Some of them should happen on a day that the transfer station is open, but I don't know if maybe, I don't know that there's a way to generate revenue from something like that. We do sell day passes now, and we do have a out of our non-resident permit is $100, which we've never had that before, and we have sold some of those, so. Everything else is just
Who
the,
buys the non-resident firms?
so there.
Non-resident.
People who live closer to our
Yeah,
transfer
there's.
station to
people
then to
that live
theirs,
at our
like
Transfer station.
there's people in Marbletown, like people who are on like before.
Right.
I'd say 213 go to ours, and people who live past 213 on 209 probably go to Marbletown. Just from logistic wise.
And then there's people like to use the free exchange. And you
Yeah,
have to have
that's
a
true, too.
permit to use it, so we didn't used to let people who weren't residents use it, but now you can, you just have to buy the annual permit.
Oh, I know a lot of Worcester people from the center of Kerhonkson.
Yeah, we
I
could.
was gonna say, yeah.
We sell a few of those a month, it's not like, it's not a ton. The two, after meeting with staff again, so I had a department meeting to review this budget. The two things I'm gonna be increasing in the preliminary, tire disposal. Oh, sorry, freon removal, I'm gonna bump up by $200. And then fluorescent light bulb disposal, I wanna bump that up. Even though it doesn't, we're not spending anywhere close to 800, I wanna keep that at 800, I put it at 5, because we're switching out bulbs here.
Yeah.
So
So it's like
we have to pay for that, and so I wanna make sure that we have it budgeted for our disposal, yeah. We are not doing, we do the tub grinder every other year, so that was, we did that in 2025, so we're not doing that again. A tub grinder, it's like a different, it's like a wood chipper, but it's a different, it like
Right.
grinds up all the brush. I am gonna recommend, based on staff recommendations, that we start charging one punch for brush. It's free right now, but it's a lot of other transfer station, we wanna just do the minimum charge for it. But people will come in and bring, like, you know, a whole truckload.
That's really.
Wait, but so then it. And then we pay to get rid of it?
No,
You pay for the tub grinder.
we pay for the tub grinder every other year, yeah.
How do we use the
Oh, people can take it,
What do we burn?
brush?
and then the highway department uses it.
Oh, the mulch, you mean?
The mulch, it
Okay.
gets made, it turns into mulch.
Why don't we just burn it with
Burning
all
that
of the files? I just saved us $15,000 for that.
It's a lot.
Well, there's nothing in the budget for grinding brush this year, so.
Well, I was curious when I saw it in there, I was like, what is that?
So that's a 0. I mean, we can always look at the fees, but I think, I just don't wanna, even charging for brush, I don't wanna budget for that, because I don't think it's gonna have much of an impact overall on the revenue. You know, we're talking about, you know, a few cars a week bringing that in.
What happens to our compost?
The highway
People
department,
can't take it?
they can if they want to. The highway department uses it as fill.
Is it compost or it's like crushed,
It's like aged.
chipped?
No, it's
aged,
compost,
it's-
but it's like not, it's not made as a heat, it's more like an aged, pile. So you wouldn't want
On the
to,
roads?
like
in a-
aged wood
on the
chips.
side.
Oh, in the ditches, okay, I was like,
the county,
I don't think that's right.
in about a year, they'll be providing us, they'll be work. For no charge, be doing aerated static piles, which is a better, cleaner way to make compost. And then residents would be able to use that and it would be
Good stuff.
good stuff. But that's not, they applied for a grant for that, so dependent on the grant funding, they would be providing everything we need, including the trick body. And then they'll also assist the towns with moving the piles around, because you have to have 3 piles going for that. But that's not this year. So one thing I wanted to bring up, so as a capital expenditure. This weekend I'll get a handle on it, but I think we have, from all the capital projects that we've done over the past few years. There's funding available in the capital fund. There's about $54,000, and I'm tracking exactly how that got there, but what happens is the board allocates funding and it goes into a budget, so it's part of a adopted budget, so I am thinking of that as capital funds. What I would like to do, based on the input I got with all the departments on buildings, is what I would like to do. So I'd like to purchase an office trailer for the transfer station, a larger trailer that has a bathroom that would get serviced by a septic company, so not like not like an outhouse, but it would be like a bathroom on the inside, but it would get.
Like a wedding bathroom.
Yes, but office trailers have that. I looked it up preliminarily, they're between $30,000 and $45,000. So if we could use the capital fund for that project, I'm gonna tell you guys why I wanna do this. So,
One-time cost?
one-time cost,
And it's a trailer, not like rehab storage thing.
no, I wanna get
uh,
something that just gets delivered, basically. It could be, there are also some, well, I've been looking around. It could just be like an office building, but I want one that has the bathroom in it. So then I would wanna take the building that's there, if we can, and move it to the town hall. But near the dog control, and turn that into, see if we could get the electric and everything for that. Turn that, kind of make it nicer, but turn that into the dog control office.
Wait, the current shed?
The current shed, and then there'd be,
That thing.
huh? Okay, I'm just saying, if it was possible, this would solve some problems for me in the town
Do you need a
hall.
bathroom in it? No, you just need an office?
No, because then
Get
we
one
could
for
turn the
50,000.
current dog control office. That's only used like 45 minutes a day at the most into the break room. Because we don't have a break room and we have a refrigerator in a place where it's not supposed to be right now. So that's my pipe dream for that, but what we really need is the office trailer at the transfer station. So we have to pay for that, also pay for all the utilities, so there'd be some electric work and everything. That would position us to then be able to turn off the water and demolish that building, which desperately needs to be taken down.
The building being the little shed of the entry shed.
No.
No,
the exit.
no.
The one that has
Okay.
the bathroom and doesn't
It has
have
no
a roof, and it's heated in the wintertime?
You serious?
I'm serious.
'Cause
You should all come by tomorrow, one by one, and I will give you a tour of that, and
Is it
I will show you-
For like 6 months ago, Aaron?
It's so
yes.
bad.
it is so bad, and it needs to be torn down, but it's being used. and it needs to be torn down. So
Use
used to the bathroom, we just got it, so the backhoe is not in there. So the backhoe is now parked under the, yeah, so we don't need it, there's some things that are stored in there that we have to find storage for. But if we have a bathroom and a nicer office, so that there's room for a break room and everything. Then I feel good about tearing that building down,
Can we?
at least turning the
Building
heater
some-
off, cause all
Yeah,
the
okay, so
heater's doing is
To
keep
come on now,
Shut the water off.
tomorrow.
It's not on
Actually,
right
no, it
now.
needs to stay on so that the pipes don't freeze.
Yeah.
If there's water to it, that's why the heat's on. This is, can we maybe get them a Johnny, once we order said office, can we maybe just get them a Johnny on the spot and tear that thing down, knowing that the other thing's showing up?
There's one there.
We have a.
You know,
we
like
have a-
to get that building,
Yeah.
it's such a hazard, like,
I
I
know.
can't believe they're still using it.
So,
Store things, I was like, okay, as a bathroom, I understand it's the only bathroom, but nothing should be in it.
yeah, there's stuff in it, so that's, to me. That's our priority, I know that we have a lot of, there's a lot of priorities, but to me. If I'm able to use that capital fund for this, I would wanna do that
Yeah,
now, like I would wanna do that with this budget.
I think that that's one of our. I think that that and then our barn next door here are our two biggest hazards. This one's luckily like people are here monitoring it, like there's, it's not
And no one goes in it.
And we know
that we know of. I would love to go in there. Teenage me would have been in there, but adult me isn't. I agree. I think that that's fine to start here because there's enough funding for it. If we have to use a little bit from general fund to do the install of the electric or anything, if it goes over with freight or anything like that, I think that that's acceptable. That building needs to, it needed to come down before we were even on the board. So I think that that
And then I think
is a great.
it also buys us time, because the whole thing, we have issues with other structures over there. In. Next, if either I get grant funding to do this, or in the 2027 budget, we budget for. An engineer to design
Really. Facility.
the facility, utilize the space. But figure out, cause the flow of that facility is all wrong, it causes so many issues. The whole flow is wrong, it needs to be a totally different flow. But we are gonna be getting tablets with credit card readers, so that'll help. Cause the way the shed is positioned, you don't see what people are doing. So I just think if it were in a different location, it would solve a lot of the problems. But I just don't think, I think we need someone to really take a look at the whole thing and see what can we use versus what needs to be rebuilt and what's really the best, kind of what makes the most sense.
Can you get those trailers so that you can plumb them into a septic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the,
Does that leach, is that leach field even viable over there?
they have a lot of really creative external systems now that are similar to like where they can be serviced like a camper one, but they're actually like a full household one that can be mounted on like the back end of a trailer or of a shipping container.
Yeah.
I've been looking at them for
I guess I don't know what you're asking. Like,
Well, if-
I don't think it makes sense to put the office trailer where the existing shed is.
no, it should be on the other side of there.
So we're just gonna abandon that well, and
I'm not saying we're going to, but we don't have a plan.
I think that we should at least put a spigot on that well so that people.
I think the building needs to come down and we need to shut the water off and everything so that but in terms of like what new facility is gonna go there and where it's gonna go and how we're gonna utilize that, I just think that's a huge project.
Okay.
Is that well the only source of water?
Yes.
That's why I'm saying we should at least leave a spigot there. There's time, you know, hosing down the backhoe or things like that.
Yeah.
That off of it, in some place, and it's nice to have it off to the side so that they're not doing it by the office and the actual concreted areas for now. But I do think that we should leave that area flat until we get a. Engineer in, or architect, whoever designs transfer station.
Right, cause I honestly think if we're gonna have I think that the facility should be on the opposite side. And what we need is like a building that has bays and an office. And like, I think we could lean into the reuse concept, but we just need more storage space. But I think it would make sense to have it on the other side where like the tires are, that whole area where the tires are the,
Yeah, we're the fire department, there has to be things we can do with those.
so sounds like you guys are,
This one.
Okay.
Report.
if you want, I have, so code enforcement's coming at
Sure.
11.
I have to run out at 11 just to go pick up my child from school for early dismissal, and then I will be back.
Okay,
Yeah, that's right, that's happened.
Why's that even at, Rhonda? Mine's in pre-K for 3-year-olds, and I still have to go get, I have a parent teacher.
the board, you guys wanted me to give you an idea of. So, Alexis, just to update you, I had proposed 4% wage increase across the board. Highway department is locked in at 3 with the collective bargaining agreement. The board asked me to look at what the difference in the budget would be if we did like 4 versus 3 versus 3.5. 4 versus 3 is $17,000. 4 versus. And then 4 versus 3.5 is $8,194. Frankly, I think that it's a slap in the face to try to save $17,000 by cutting
No,
Yeah.
that 1%.
The 28 employees.
Yeah.
no, I agree. That's why if it was like a large, if it was like $50,000 with how much we had
Yeah, that,
considered in the budget, that I would be like, "All right, guys, like I said last night, I don't want to do that. That's why I was curious of the number, because like, you know, pennies like down to the dime, like things need to be cut, and I want to give them raises. I think they all deserve it, but you know what I mean? If it was like a 50,000, like a large number like that, where we could easily pull it out.
The $17,000 represents 1%
Mhm.
of the total increase.
if $17,000 is the
Wage.
difference between a 4 and 3%.
So the difference between the current and the 4% would be 4 times the 17.
Well, the 0.5% is 8,000, so. A little
So
bit less than that,
Yeah.
because it would be.
It's less than 30,000, 25,000.
I didn't do that
It's less
one.
than 30,000 altogether for us to give all of our employees this cost of living increase. I think that, right? On top of that
Is
would
it
be
80,000?
No, I think,
It's more than that.
I think you're right. It would be closer to the 4 times, but it wouldn't be quite 4 times because of the way the percentage works.
I mean, if you gave them a choice between, say hypothetically, they have to limp along with like maybe equipment that we can't upgrade this year or not get that increase, they would choose.
The increase.
So that's kind of where I'm at generally.
But to be clear, our total wage increase is gonna be roughly 4 times 17.
Yeah,
For that portion of the staff.
For that portion.
So let's take that in.
Does that include? Fringe benefits and
No.
taxes, so that's just.
that's just plain salary,
Plain gross salary.
yeah. So
And how much?
75.
5% for insurance went up? How much? is it?
6.
6, okay.
And then in
Thought it was 6.
the December insurance is 15%.
See, and that's where like my mind is at, we're trying to
6,
balance it
7.
with a wage increase, is like we pay so much in it, like our insurances are going up, and like their fringe benefits have also increased this whole time too, is where my mind, I think, is also thinking when I was looking at the hourly wages with how much we.
Well,
You know,
I mean,
it's a-
just as the
but-
person who does payroll, people who are on a family plan have more than half of their paycheck taken out to
Oh,
cover
yeah.
for their insurance.
Yeah, depending on which year they were hired,
like
things like
they-
that, yeah.
We are paying more, but they're paying more. Like, it's we pay more, but they pay more. So it's not like it's not like they're, and something that I wanna bring up too. So it's, you know, that, when I see that, it's really hard for me to justify, like, I'm not thinking. Oh, we're paying them more for their insurance. I'm thinking, wow, look at how much they're paying for insurance.
Yeah.
We do pay a lot for insurance, but in our collective bargaining agreement employees, it's a flat 20%. In this fund, if you were hired after 2018, if you only get that benefit for yourself. So the family portion of your plan is 50%. Now that's three of our employees that are paying that. So they're paying 20% for themselves and 50% for their family plan.
Wait, and that's our full-time employees only?
Yeah. But we have three people, who are on family plans there. But
And what do we offer any insurance to part-timers?
you know, they could buy it, but there's no,
That's, you know,
no, but we do offer it to anyone who works 32 hours a week or more. So we also have
Added
a,
life insurance.
Huh?
And we just added life insurance for everyone. I'm just,
4%.
no, you guys can leave the 4%. I just feel like I'm kind of being villainized for bringing this up a little bit. I'm the only working class person here, and those benefits do add up to things when you're applying to jobs, and that's what I'm looking at from that point of view, from an employee point of view, applying to us. Our people don't just make like, our tier 3 person doesn't just make $25 an hour in this budget. They're making $25 an hour plus a life insurance policy that we're paying 100% for, plus insurance that we're paying 80% for. I understand they're paying 20%, and that also means that it goes up on their end. But those are all additional benefits. Most jobs come with nothing but your pay in this area. So these are very well-paying, well-packaged positions that we have, is what I'm saying. So that's where I was at with, if we have to cut a 1% off of the amount we're paying them, we give a lot of benefits as an employer and as a municipality, more than others do. So that's just where I'm at. I've known and worked with almost all of our employees my whole life, so it's nothing personal or a slap in the face to that. And I do pick my job.
I don't think you can stand this.
Hmm?
I don't think.
I'm saying that it's a slap in the face with something that I just should on a number wasn't the nicest way to present how I said it, because I was just saying as a figurative.
Well, I did not mean that personally directed at you. I just meant for that amount, I think we could find $17,000 somewhere else.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Well, of course, that's the way.
Yeah, so you just have to do 1 minute.
I missed. Did you have the trailer in here under?
No, that would be in capital.
Was something we could potentially get a ban for.
Yes, but it's not reflected in this at all.
It's already in the fund though, right?
I believe so. It's definitely not in fund balance because it's in capital fund. Whether or not it was padded with, I have to just make sure that I fully understand what the extra money is. So we usually don't have extra money budgeted.
That might be another good point, but we can put a ban for the trailer and use that capital fund for other
Yeah,
less. Less for other capital equipment that doesn't have as long of a lifetime.
yeah.
Brian, you said maybe that one's gonna be. Did you also say you were considering paying the guard fee at a ban?
We are paying that out of the band. Yeah,
But we didn't.
Nice.
this-
Are you ready for us?
we are ready for you.
But we didn't count this.
No.
Hello,
Hi.
how are you guys? Good morning, everybody.
Good, how are you?
Hello.
My turn, too?
He's.
just. Good to see
Yeah.
Wherever, you can sit on the camera.
One more, right?
One more. Oh, of your share cards,
Yeah.
unless somebody stole it. Yeah, like, great. It's cold in here?
Oh.
It's cold, right?
Yeah.
I'm not dying,
Usually it's burning up and down. No, I'm wearing 2 layers of wool.
like set to 60. We're gonna leave the house. Like,
Oh, guys.
Hi,
dude,
welcome. So we are streaming public meeting. Thanks for joining us today. We just wanted to, it's really nice to have budget meetings between the board and the departments. Wait, I have to get that. Those big spreadsheets I have, that's the kind of big worksheet printout of the tentative budget. So all the, there's a column that has department requests, and then there's the tentative budget numbers that I put in. And so then we're working to make changes that would be part of the preliminary budget. The preliminary budget has to have a public hearing. That will be scheduled on Monday for November 6th. We can still make changes to the preliminary budget to the final budget, but that happens after the public hearing. We have to adopt it by November 20th, which I believe we are planning on adopting the final budget on November 13th. So just in terms of like any changes that we decide to make for the budget, particularly with like department requests, those I'll try to keep everybody posted on if there's gonna be any deviation from what we've sort of talked about. So for you guys, the revenue, I think is some of our departments don't have a lot of revenue or don't have like a lot of way that they're thinking about the revenue, whereas I think for you, because it's so busy, so many permits, so much activity, I thought it would be good to start with the revenue. So what I have been doing is sort of opening the floor to the department. So Alyssa, I don't know if you wanted to talk us through your revenue projections. Sure. So those are gonna be on pages 1 and 2, and they're kind of spread out. So if you have the codes, I don't know if you brought your worksheet, but if you have the codes, you could say those, and that would help us find where they're at in them.
Alright, so 1289, like, can I just read it from my worksheet? Mayor, do you want
Okay, yes.
They're the same?
Mhm.
Okay, so 1289.1 is the CEO and municipal searches. Seen it? Do you want me to just say what it is and read it?
Yeah, and what you're thinking for how you're setting those projections.
Sure, so 26,000 is what we projected for next year, and that is because we have seen an increase in them this far. They have decreased significantly since COVID, but we are seeing they slowed for a little while, but they are picking back up. That's just trending, so I just did the numbers that I have now versus, I just did the math and figured out what it would be for next year. I just used the formula
Yeah.
that originally said, based
Yep.
on, you know, what time we went through, what our totals were through August. Fire inspection fees. That decreased. Only because we are, some of our inspections are every other year, not every year like we had originally.
What's another?
I guess I made lots of mistakes, so that should just say 14,700.
That's good. I think revenue is good.
The safety inspection fee, that is like our short-term, 1560, I'm sorry. That is our short-term rental budget. That's mostly at our, and like electrical, things like that. So based on, based on the numbers of short-term rentals and who's going to be renewing, I got that number from there, and then what we have in permits in that column already. Zoning,
But I'm sorry, the jump from 15,000 to 30,000, so I see that's where we're at now. I know we do this every 2 years.
which ones?
The short-term rentals?
Yeah, I see 26 to 28.4.
Right. The budget for last year was 15,000, is that right?
For 2024,
Oh, that's 24.
2024's budget was 15, but we took in 35. 2025's budget was 26, but we've taken in 30,200 so far.
And so we're thinking, since we're keeping the same number of them, we should expect about that much every year.
Yes.
Okay.
And then because of the number, it's like the every other year permit is more.
Right.
And the off one is less, so
half of
based
that.
on those numbers, it would.
I have 2550 public safety permits. Went from, budget is 7,000 for this year, we projected 8,600 for next year. 2555, the building and alterations. Our budget this year is 85,000, we are anticipating 98,735 for next year.
What do you base that increase on?
I did the math for what we still have left from our time in, the first couple of quarters until August 31st. And then the projected, yeah. I did it basic, I didn't have any research on the numbers. And then that encompasses everything, the 98, so then the planning board fees. 19,000, but that wasn't us, and then the permits 80,000, but that is in the 2555. See those broken out.
The miscellaneous building permits, we have 93.
I don't see that on here.
There's gonna be permits, other. So far we've taken in, I think they've been put in the wrong budget code.
Okay.
They were in 2590. And I think they're supposed to be in 2590.1.
2590.1 is what the other should be under.
Yeah. You had put in 93,000 for that
Yeah.
one? Yeah.
Sorry.
Which ones are those? again?
Those are all of our zoning applications, any miscellaneous applications, fence applications, all of like,
Like generators, HVAC.
Yeah.
They fall into that category.
Yeah, okay.
Shares of wood stoves too.
yeah, everything other than new construction is falls under that.
Accessory permits, like a garage, like the touch garage, or is that?
That'll be under 2555. That was it for my department income, and then the next part I have is this.
Where do the fines go?
We input them into the building permits. Yeah, it's 2555 usually.
So are you collecting fines directly?
Only for stop work orders that are issued and the revocation of stop.
Okay.
That's.
Okay.
Should have been anything.
Oh,
Should.
no, I was just curious about which fines those were, because we talk about fines all the time, and most of our fines come through the courts. We don't really know like what they would be, and then would be in another.
Sure.
Any questions or thoughts about revenue before we move on to expenditures?
So all them other fines go to the courts?
If it's a court case,
Terms of court.
Yeah, it would go, whatever's happening would go through the court, the justices set whatever that's gonna be, and it gets received as fines from through the court in a different budget line. So we don't really think about that as revenue really. We have like a very steady amount that we get as fines and forfeited but bail that comes in, but we don't break it out by department. We're not thinking about it from a department standpoint. I think there's, yeah, the numbers reflect busyness. So in the worksheet that I've created for you guys, the big blue one, code enforcement is on page 24.
Can I just ask something, you don't answer it now, but, I want to look at the ambulance, you have 8,000 for 8,000. I don't want to forget.
That's their fuel usage.
Oh,
Our accountant told me it used to be not reflected because it was a expenditure posted. A revenue posted against an expenditure, so it would show it was zero.
mhm.
But she said that it's a operating expense for the district, so it should be reflected, and I actually might just be moving that into the ambulance fund.
Okay.
So it's a net zero because there's now a revenue
also-
that matches it.
Sorry.
Okay, so page 24, code enforcement. I can talk about the personnel budget, since you guys didn't put anything in the department, I can just kind of high level explain, and then if you guys want to talk about positions, we can do that. So we're trying to have the building and planning kind of be more like one department rather than having one department that has one person. That's doing a lot, very similar work. So I put that clerk position into the personnel budget. So you'll see that added, but then in the other budget lines, we've taken out that. And it used to be in this budget like a long time ago. And then what we have here budgeted is code enforcement officer part-time. We did budget for building inspector part-time, and then we have zoning coordinator and municipal code aide. Municipal code aide is now at 40 hours a week. Whereas zoning coordinator is at 35. And then the building inspector and code enforcement officer, I think I have those at about 20. So, this isn't a huge increase over previous years because we had the building inspector and code enforcement officer positions in the budget already. We just didn't utilize those fully this year, so I don't know if you guys have had any additional thoughts about staffing, but I wanted to sort of open that up and see what you're thinking about the department needs, and if you have any thoughts about how that should be structured in 2026.
Should get a building inspector for 2 days a week at least. You know, to make up the times I'm not here and stuff like that.
That's in addition to the one,
No. We don't have anyone in that.
but so it's not adding a new budget.
Sorry, budgeting. Yeah.
That's correct.
That's it.
That's it. Okay. Um. And then you guys didn't have any equipment in your requests.
We don't expect anything other than the car that we mentioned.
Yes.
That's
Okay, yeah, we can talk about that at the end. Okay. We talked about you had requested the uniforms, but we budgeted for those for this year. So if we are able to do something with that, we can, otherwise we'll put it in, we'll switch that over.
Okay.
So that's why I have that 0, just because when we had originally gotten the request, it had been added as a 2026, but when I mentioned I had already put it in for this year. We thought, well, maybe we could get some shirts or vests. What were you guys thinking?
Shirts.
Okay. All right, so for office supplies, I think we're just seeing that we might want to bump. You had put in 750, I think I bumped it up,
I kept it lower, for a few reasons. We have a really good stock right now. We have a really good inventory. We still have money in the budget that we plan to use before the end of the year to stock up for the meeting of next. And with things going, hopefully starting Maple Lab, we'll need less
Less.
things.
Okay. Well, I can drop that back down. To 750. Professional services. What was that for?
More
Mhm.
training.
I don't remember. We've used it.
I would say maybe, right?
No, that's
I
in the
thought this
attorney
year-
line.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Cause you got here for education and conference.
Let me find out.
just gonna see if we put a note in there.
Noise,
It's that, yeah. All right, we'll come back to that, but I'm not actually sure what that is, but we've used it. Software, that's the Munico Lab.
Yeah.
How's that going?
For planning board, it's going pretty great. We're super excited for the building department. We've had one meeting with him so far.
Okay,
And he was just one plug away. We gave him all the applications, the permits, the COs. I don't know.
okay, great.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what happens with that.
It's gonna be really cool.
Then education conference.
It's just for training for, Mike does a big one, I think it's in May, or it's a 3-day course that he gets all of his continuing ed out of the way in one shot.
It's a big conference. It's good.
What about you guys?
Just do my continuing ed through online,
There's no other trainings you guys wanna do?
not that I have. thought of.
I mean, if something comes up in the future, I don't mind. I mean, I think that training last year was 300 some bucks.
Okay.
For the day 365, something like that.
I mean, if you guys want additional training. In the budget one.
Okay, thank you.
And then postage, just keeping on top of things.
Yeah, I mean. We had to increase it this year because we were trying to catch up on a lot of the violations and certified letters that we had to send out to get things caught up, so. We fully expect to increase, and again with Media Lab, we wouldn't be able to, we won't touch that.
Yeah. Yeah, and postage, just for the board. It's delayed, so we do the charges to the postage. To departments like every 2 months. So what you're seeing here is not actually through the end of September. So there's more postage charges that have come in, so. Okay. So anything from the board about the actual like code enforcement office? Operations? Do you guys, should we talk about the vehicle? We were talking about vehicles a little bit last night, so I think I just wanted to hear. If you guys want to talk about that, the board was asking some questions about the vehicles, so I thought they'd probably be better posed to you, because I've never driven either one of them.
Our vehicle has 108,000 miles on it.
every engine light and sensor light is on in the dashboard, looks like a Christmas tree.
Which one is that? The one?
The white Tahoe.
Okay,
I believe the red one, all the lights are on that too, and that's past, doesn't have inspection. I average anywhere from 80 to 100 miles a day when I'm working, so. I'm keeping an eye on that, yeah. It's,
What year is the one with 108,000 miles? Not
uh,
a lot of mileage, right?
yeah, I could go look, I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, I think it's like I'm gonna say 14 or something, yeah. Yeah,
Surprised it's not. And we service that?
no, the inspection went through,
Filippo's.
Yeah, they
There's the
did
highway
that.
garage service it?
I think they said, yeah,
And they, we
I don't know if they're
And there's-
capable of, deleting the codes,
When something comes up, there's.
Yeah.
no reaching, yeah, so.
yeah.
I mean, 108,000 miles is not a lot.
No, not today, but it'll get us by, you know, for a while, it's just something
Yeah.
in the future, definitely.
And with the red vehicle, you just don't feel like there's a need for that vehicle?
I mean, you guys, if somebody else at the end of the movie, it's freaking making it just, it's been.
Yeah. But in terms of requesting a new vehicle, if you could talk about what you're thinking, what you're looking for. That's something we are looking at purchasing, we have requests for 4 vehicles from departments, so that's probably something that we would be financing. And right now, there are some subsidies and grants available for hybrids, EVs, so we're kind of starting to look at what, like what our options are in terms of like funding sources and financing and things like that.
Just need something that's similar to what we have, it's gotta be 4-wheel drive, because some of these driveways we build are ridiculous, and that's basically it, as long as it's got the 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Yeah. And that's a little bit of ground clearance too, something similar to what we have.
And then especially with thinking about having, potentially 3 staff who can be doing inspections and field work.
Mhm.
One of the things I'm thinking about is if we had a general vehicle that could be shared, that would be something that could be also utilized. So I guess I want to see if that feels like enough, especially because I guess if one of them is a take-home vehicle, I guess I'm just thinking about how the vehicles could get, if we're gonna have vehicles out 5 days a week. Like if we wanna hold on to. If we were to get 1 new vehicle and hold on to the Tahoe, or get 1 new vehicle and have a shared vehicle. Any chance we can get to like have revenue from a vehicle that we're taking out, we would wanna do that, but if we don't wanna do that, if we would need it, I guess.
That other vehicle, that second vehicle will be used probably 2 days a week most. If that, there might be times where there'll be no inspections that day, on Friday or something. But. You can probably get away with the Tahoe. For that ends of it.
It just needs like a physical.
Yeah,
It's a whole
it sounds like we
workout.
need to
Just-
take it in somewhere and have all of those lights, like.
Yeah.
Have it diagnosed,
Yeah.
and hopefully it's okay.
If there's sensors that gotta get replaced, sometimes they get costly.
Wait a few years from now. It's still, it's still cheaper than buying it out.
Oh, absolutely.
That's service.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I feel good about the department budget, I think the vehicle thing is just, it's a tough budget season.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it was-
But we always
fun to
have the
open
vehicle, so, I think we're just wanting to really look at how we finance those and what we need, like what we can get away with. versus like what we need.
Maybe we could take the red one over to the garage and have them start, diagnosing it and see if they could just change the sensor. So be it, if it's something more elaborate and more detailed, they might have to go somewhere. I don't know what them guys are capable of doing over there.
Right, yeah, yeah.
But the white one is the one with all the,
Both of them.
oh, they
Yeah,
don't have
both.
lights on.
Actually, the white one, we just got inspected after like the third time, but the red one needs an inspection.
Yeah, so-
But you're saying the code lights could be because they don't have the specific computer, but they hook it into the code lights, and so it's not necessarily
But so-
mechanical.
Right, but sometimes you can't just reset that.
Right,
That sensor. You
Every
have to
maker has
replace
its
it.
own.
Yeah. Okay, anything else from the board for code enforcement? We were talking about you guys with the meeting with the assessor department. About how great, like how the communications and the way you guys have been working together has been good, so we did talk about that, we were. What do they say, talking good behind your back? No, but it's
Do
on,
they say that? That phrase?
that's a phrase, I made it up if it's not.
It's good to hear.
Yeah. So thank you for all your hard work. And I'll let you know, we'll probably circulate, Kate will circulate the preliminary budget to departments.
So need any follow-up from us?
No, I think everything looked pretty solid, in terms of your numbers, I don't see that there's any wiggle room. So,
All right, thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you.
Let's have a good day.
You
too.
it's there's a podcast that I listen to sometimes and they say it. Okay.
Do we have a hard stop budgeted today?
I did invite, Rick, we don't have a hard stop. I did invite Rick Jones, to look at the planning board stuff with us. And I wanted to cover,
She's supposed to come.
well,
Karen?
he might, if he's available, we can have him come in. There's like some meeting going on, but do you wanna go see if he's available? I wanted to look at the town board budget, cause there's some things I put in there that we might just decide to cut, because.
I mean, if it's possible, if I could, 12:45.
Oh, yeah, I was
Because
kind of,
could-
I was saying 12:30. Okay. Cause I have to sign the checks. And then I wanna make sure I have some guidance from you guys. Okay, so let's look at 5.
Where are you, page 5?
We looked at the elected schedule. I have the town board in at. I'm pretty sure that's a 4% increase. So. I think. Yeah, that's exactly 4%. So I think if there's changes you guys wanna make. Just holler. I put the 4,000 in for equipment, so that's supposed to be for computers. Alexis, last night. We moved the computer budget from 2025 to the supervisor equipment line, so I can purchase furniture in my office, but then I had already budgeted for this again, so hopefully we can just get that taken care of early in the year. For town board, public notices and advertising, that's for our public hearings and stuff like that. We could bump that up if we wanted to. It looks like we're gonna spend more than that this year. But I kept it flat. I did budget a lot more for education conference and mileage because there's a annual conference in New York City for Association of Towns that I hear really good things about, that we've never really gone. There's a training, the annual training is like in a drivable distance. And that is coming up too, so if we wanna start finding things that we can cut that aren't like necessary. That is one place that we could cut. The board, this year we have $1,000. I don't think that there's a lot of education that the board takes, but if you guys wanted to, there's funding available. Michael, the training that you went to is coming out of there, but that was only $100. So what do you guys think about that?
Figure out whether to cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's fine to cut, if we wanna do training.
Do you wanna do like 500 for training?
If we wanna have some things that have an easy way to pay it, but
All right, and then do you want me to reduce the mileage too?
how much have we used?
We've never used any. Board members usually don't claim mileage, but you could, you say to 0. Okay. And then postage. This was for townwide mailing, we had done 3,000. But then we ended up taking that out of the housing budget because we did a townwide mailing.
3,000 was like what it would cost to do one mailing.
To the whole firm.
With the postcard also. So. I put it at 1,000 because I thought, well, we could still do something with 1,000. If you want to keep it there and just see. If there's anything we want to do, we can do that, or. We could bump it up, I don't know. I kind of just made these numbers up.
We could drop it to. Cut it. I mean, I understand that people like getting mailings, but there's a number of ways that don't cost anything. And since we're so high in other places.
I mean, what other mailings do we have coming up that would come out of this budget? Because.
None. We would just have to do one, we would just have to, the board has to like.
Yeah.
Do the mailing.
Yeah, but like. I don't know, what would we? I guess if we were gonna do something with the comp plan, would that come out of there?
Yeah, potentially.
But then that should be a townwide.
It also could come out of, I have that, a big number budgeted for that, so.
For. Comp plan. I would just cut it,
So we need some postage.
250.
Can I ask a random unrelated to
Yes.
this question, since I've just been looking around, seeing that the different committees have the budgets.
Yes.
Is there anything to say about that, or is that just, that I
Yes,
can communicate to them, or do we need to talk about it?
yeah, we can, I'm just behind in that one.
Okay,
I kind of kept them all the same.
Yeah.
We're utilizing all of those budgets this year, but not to the full amount, like the ag committee, so it's $500. Housing committee put in a request that came in a little under than what I had put, so I was gonna touch base about that with them. And then, Climate Smart has the grant.
Right.
And then the ECC, I think we have 2,000 that we've been putting in. But, yeah, I wanted to send something out to all the committees before our meeting last night, and I just didn't get around to it. So yeah, if you want to see if anybody, if they're fine with what it is, or if they have, I have a feeling the board's not gonna want to increase.
Right, I would be like, is there anything explicit that you wanna make your case for before we finalize? this?
Yeah.
With the caveat that nobody's getting one.
Okay, so then in the supervisor. So we're making some cuts from town board. 6. So for my budget, I mean, also like with the weight. Hopefully this contextualizes for you guys like why I really do not want my pay to go up at all from what it is. I have, because now my clerk is gonna be working for the full year, that is going up. Because we had modified the budget. Because she didn't get hired until, she didn't start until June, basically. But, so that's a wait, that'll be an increase, but just because of she'll be working the full year. And then,
So you're just talking about total budget, not anything about your stipend or the job requirements.
what?
You're saying you don't want that to go up because we're gonna be spending more this year for the clerk, right?
I'm saying, given the conversation we've been having about the budget itself and wages. And that, like, we're talking about. You know. How a 4% wage increase is generous and all of that kind of stuff, like, I just don't want, I don't think that my. Salary personally should go anywhere above where it's posted at all, that's all I'm trying to say. I just don't think it's. That's already a really big increase.
I mean, does our stipend need to increase?
That's up to you guys.
I mean, I'm willing
Sure,
to,
but-
what?
sure, so
I said I'm willing if we're just scrimping, I mean, it's like, I don't.
The board stipend.
Yeah, the board is stipend.
I mean, I'm fine keeping it fine.
Well, I would want Charlotte.
Right, of course. Do
I
you need-
I still think the elected official salary. The highway superintendent should not be significantly higher than the clerk and the supervisor.
Yeah, there's a discussion to be had there.
We could call it a market adjustment, call it.
So then the question is, are you reducing the highway superintendent or just waiting for the metro catch up?
Right,
Yeah,
Because he's getting 1%,
I did
there's
one.
a 1% increase this year.
I mean, right now, somebody starting day one in highway for the CDL is making about that salary.
Yeah.
It's. What is the total budget this year
For us,
for everything?
like in general fund,
No, for
3.8,
for everything with highway.
oh, 7.
So the town has a $7 million budget. Staff of how many people? Dealing with multiple infrastructure projects, I don't know. Seems low for the amount of work.
It's also like the highest town supervisor salary in the entire county,
I'm sorry, it's what?
the highest town supervisor salary in the entire county. I just think there's only so far you can,
How much are what's the total for their offices though? Like what is?
I don't know.
If they have two
Maybe
additional
more
staff
towards
members
that.
or,
It's some, yes, some. I know that, I don't know the stats for all the towns, I do know some have like. 3 to 4 additional employees, rather, I have 2. And one of them isn't even working in my department right now. So I think in terms of like. The elected. Salaries, I would like, especially, I know that you guys' salaries are on there too, we all are, but especially because it's my main source of income. That is definitely like something that I feel most comfortable with the board, really, if you guys have changes that you wanna make. Like if you wanna recommend those for the preliminary budget. So that I can, if there are gonna be changes, I could put those in, but otherwise, I'm gonna leave it as is, I think, because that's sort of my. And if you want us, for the town board. salary, I think it would be. Like, I hear what you guys are saying, but I think Charlotte's coming back, so having that discussion while she's here, I think is most appropriate too.
You could break them out by 1, 2, 3, 4, or do you think it's a better idea to just keep it what?
I think you can break them out. I don't know,
What do you mean, have different stipends?
yeah. I think, I know in some towns like the board member that's like the deputy supervisor. But I don't know if that's a separate stipend or not,
I think it would be a separate.
yeah.
I do it from zero.
I like that stipend. If
Do it
you're
for the love of the game.
paying
So then I have for the equipment, that is a, computer. And there's something else
Yes.
in there,
that's what that's.
no,
That's the concern.
I'm getting desks this year. But I am going to need a new computer. I'll hold out as long as I can, but I wanna get something
Was there
really,
An extra one in the. closets?
no,
You gave that.
I'm very good at, if there's something like functional,
Like
like
much in the trailer.
making.
CRT monitor on.
So, I don't remember, there are laptops that we got for 1,300, but I think I wanna get something with I need something with a lot more storage. Cause there's a lot on this computer. So I think I was planning on getting something that,
I'm sure.
like, how much storage? I don't know how I figure that out.
But I mean, most of that should be living in the Microsoft account, OneDrive or SharePoint.
I thought that we didn't wanna do that for like a lot of the permanent records.
The permanent records are fine, you know.
The pantry set, there's the motor?
There's a what, restroom?
Restroom?
Over there.
Thank you so much.
Yep. It's on the right.
Thank you.
I think permanent records are fine. It's like anything that's foilable is fine. It's like things with personally identifiable information is I don't want to have that. But I don't know what all the stuff on your computer is. Is it just like very large pictures?
We're getting into.
I don't think we
Maybe
need to, let me just find my notes. I'm in my document that has the notes.
You need a new computer, it's fine. We can set it at 1,500 or.
Yeah, I've had enough hard drive failures where I'd be nervous.
Mhm. Yeah, we can drop that down, like, let's say 1,800. Okay. ADP, it has gone up because we're doing the time and attendance, which has been going well. I've been utilizing the accountant a lot more, so. But I think next year, after we get through. The things I've been working with them on, I think the 1,300 will be enough for next year. So for the education and conference, we can bump that back down, because that was gonna be for the people in my office. We're not gonna do that, so we can put that at 500. The mileage. I mean, I doubt I'm gonna submit for mileage at all this year, but I thought maybe that's something that I should do, so I just kept it. At 750, but, I haven't been, like, I don't feel like I'm using my car. That much, so I don't know why it was so much in years past, but. Like, if I have a meeting for the county, like, I'm not counting that as like work. So I just drive between my office and the community center, and I'm not worried about that personally. So. I could drop that. Probably down to like. 500. It's not a lot of savings, but. let's see. Postage, all the checks and that kind of stuff, that's all postage for the supervisor's office, so that's why we have that. And postage is going up. So we dropped that down a little bit, which is good. Are they still meeting? They were meeting when you were in there?
They were, yeah.
Okay,
I can poke my head in again.
okay. For the, I did leave the budget officer stipend flat. Just because the increase for the supervisor was more significant. I personally don't see how I could do this job without being the budget officer, but I guess it's possible. Yeah. And, software is QuickBooks. So that's just is what it is, and it's higher because, actually the license that we got for the clerk got accidentally charged to mine. So I just need to actually pull that out and put that in hers. So that's why we went over budget there, but that's just, we added a license for the town clerk, but it should not be in the budget officer. Software line. Then we've gone through assessor, town clerk. Alexis in the attorney line, I think we had kind of decided to keep it where it's at in the budget, even though we are anticipating, we have like 2 lawsuits that we're gonna be paying for, their insurance doesn't cover, that are probably gonna be happening next year, but, I'm trying to think of. I guess. We talked about buildings already. I did put in so we had 5,000 for equipment that we ended up in this year's budget. We're gonna use all of that. I had originally wanted to do 10. I put in 10 in the tentative. This is like furniture, desks, this is like all equipment that's in buildings. We had wanted to get like. We can drop that, we can definitely drop that down, is all I'm saying, but it just means we wouldn't be doing equipment upgrades.
This is all the furniture stuff.
It's furniture, it's
But what other, so supervisors getting new desks, the clerk has budgeted for new stuff.
but those are coming out of their
Right.
separate
So
lines.
what is the 10,000? Who would that be covering? Which office?
It would be the building and maintenance, like staff members. If they need equipment, like cleaning equipment or maintenance equipment. It covers things like tables and chairs, it covers.
So like a Harry new tool. It would come out of it.
That would come out of operations and maintenance. It covers, like, I don't, like, if we're talking about getting an ice machine. That would come out of that budget. But it's like 300, it's like $500 and we're gonna get that this year.
So our actuals 24 or
The AEDs.
is that reflected in January, September yet?
Yeah,
So it seems like 5,000.
the new locks that I don't know, I haven't really gotten much input from the court, but they did say they wanted new locks at some point, which I don't think is gonna be nothing.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of doors.
Still seems like 5,000 was covering it for now. I mean, if we're looking to cut. We could cut it to 7,500, we could cut it to 6,500.
Let's cut it to 6. And then we decided to leave the professional services the same. right?
Pro services, what is that again?
That's the maintenance and repair
Okay, a
stuff.
lot of that.
So I gotta use, the idea is that 25,000 I have is gonna go all to the court. But there's stuff, there's so much stuff that needs to be done. So it's kind of more like, we could have that be $200,000. So it's kind of more like, okay, what can I do for $35,000? Um. Where are we at with this? Well, actually, Charlotte said she wanted to think about this, we'll wait for her on the vehicles. Then I have a phone call with our phone system rep who said he thinks that they might be able to, I don't know, it's a sales.
You overpaying for your.
Yes. So I don't know, I had. Last budget season, I started looking into voice over IP. And it does not cost as much.
Using water.
Yeah. But here's the deal. I did not know, when I was doing the budget, I did not know that our Spectrum connection is done through that phone bill. So this phone bill of $14,124 includes Spectrum. I didn't know that, and I was like, we're paying so much, and so I looked into doing voice over IP and I cut the budget. And then we didn't do anything about it, but then I also realized that our Spectrum is billed through the Ring Square and voice. So I don't really know, I'm gonna have a meeting with him next week. So we might be able to drop that down a little bit based on what he says. So, but I'll just base that on actuals, and we'll just leave it at that number for now.
And that includes new equipment, and everything, phones and.
New phones?
But we need new phones if we're doing voice as opposed to.
I don't know that we're switching to voice over IP. I don't know that we have strong enough service.
Even now, after,
Well, right. Okay, Charlotte, the TLDR is we found revenue.
Oh,
And we've cut.
all right, where did we find it?
Too
long.
Wait, what?
Too long.
Summary.
I had accidentally left off one of the
Oh,
code
good.
enforcement revenue lines on page
It's
one,
the internet.
1,400 and
Too long, didn't read. I mean,
700.
it's like somebody puts a long screen,
On-
like TLDR.
1540.
give me just the facts.
The fire inspection?
Yeah, it's what the department requested.
We love
Could
revenue.
also say, well,
And then
bottom line in front.
the board wanted to talk about the town board stipends. So I said I didn't want to do that without you here.
Oh.
And then on page 5, I had budgeted for the board to go to a conference. We're just dropping that. So on 5, the education conference is down to 500. The mileage is 0 unless you have mileage you want to claim and you want to put something in there. And then the postage, we just dropped to 250. Okay. And then on page 6, the supervisor equipment, we dropped that to 1,800. From 2,300.
To 18?
And then on 7, the supervisor education conference, we dropped down to 500, and the mileage, we dropped down to 500. Which I could probably drop to 0 because I haven't claimed anything.
That's for any of your employees, you also know. right?
Yeah, that's why
so you have to
I didn't want to drop it all the way. Okay. And then on page 11, we dropped the buildings equipment to 6,000. So then on page 12, for the vehicles, where are we at with vehicles? Oh, and what you didn't, code enforcement was a little soft on the vehicle, I thought.
Okay.
Basic, it sounds like the Tahoes have not been taken to a mechanic and gotten a diagnosis done. So I think we just need to do that and see what the life expectancy of those is. Yeah, I can give you permission. Well, they have lights on and no one, I guess they haven't been taken, they haven't been taken in, I guess, I didn't realize. They've just had normal, like if something's wrong with it, it gets taken to the central garage.
Like if the wheels wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're past
And so
inspection.
Central Garage hasn't been doing upkeep on the lights or anything for them the whole year?
It's a
or
process of
just-
discovery.
Well, that's lovely.
So we need to,
Maybe like the liaison to the vehicles.
sure.
Make that a thing.
Oh, I need to send you that
was,
spreadsheet.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
need to
can you
send
send
you
me
guys
that,
all
'cause
that
I,
stuff.
I was gonna say,
You
I
got
got
that?
for all the. Yeah, and I got the in on the New York State approved bidder site for.
So Harry does need a new truck. So Harry does need a new truck and he does need a truck because he does the plowing, he does a lot of the plowing. And so we definitely need to get a truck for Harry.
Okay, and. The Tahoe is the white one?
There's a white one and a red.
There's one of each and both of them have
The white
not.
one just passed inspection, which means presumably that no lights were on.
Yeah, but they said there were lights on.
That just means that
The
there's
red
no lights on
ones-
for 40 miles.
He said the red ones got all sorts of lights.
And the red one has, and is.
I know it's not the time, but I think it, having a vehicle that could be like checked out by rec, by clerk's office, by assessor's office.
What I was original. So.
But we do need to replace Harry's truck.
What's wrong with them?
You want to, do you know what, like what
I-
type of thing?
I was told, well, we've already done work on we already replaced part of the bed because it had been rusting through, so it's continued to rust through. I was told by the highway mechanic and superintendent and deputy that truck, that truck is not gonna last. I was told last year I was told it would we could get it to last through the end of this year, cause I didn't
Yes.
put it in the budget. And then this year, a few months ago or 2 months ago, they were like, you gotta get a truck ASAP, and I was like, I was told it would go through the end of the year, so it has to.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry, you said it was just a bed, but we replaced it or we just repaired it?
we repaired it. So there's, if you
So
look at
nothing's
it.
New on it, right?
Mm-mm.
But there is a plow for it
Yes,
currently.
so it has to
and
be
it
able to plow.
works,
Yeah, it currently works.
and it's okay, like they haven't requested a new plow, they just asked for a new truck.
Correct.
Okay. So,
And I don't know how the plows, if they have to be specific.
no, I know how. it
Okay.
works. I can, seriously, I will be the liaison to vehicles.
Okay.
Like I've dated in the mechanics in my time. So this one's a new one. It's 2 minutes. Okay, what are the other town, we have that other constable car that's at the town hall, right, that's
Mhm.
the backup one?
That's the
Doesn't really
second-
get used off unless they need to. out.
Right. That one recently I had the annual maintenance done on that one and. Car 1 and car 2 have recently had tires replaced. And they all have their. Basic maintenance has been done.
And no, there's no, that's it, right, just the two
We have
constable
two-
cars. Oh, at
two-
transfer station truck?
We have a transfer station truck. And we actually think the transfer station truck is in better condition than Harry's truck. Cause our original plan was Harry's truck would move over there. But I was told. That his truck is in worse condition than that one, and they all think that that one is fine. To do what they need,
Transfer station.
the transfer station.
And they predominantly do just like moving tires or like electronics and stuff. with it,
Actually,
right?
no, what that truck gets used for is a plow truck for the transfer station. As an assist, and then it's basically used, right now, it's not really used that much. But we use it to go to the UCRA if we have stuff that we have to drop off there, and once a month, the plastic. I have the staff doing the plastic. Hauling, and so there's other things, sometimes it's like, oh, there might be something that needs to get dropped off, or they do the hazardous waste, they'll go in that vehicle.
How many trips a month outside of the like town, do you think that they do? Like local, like
It's one trip,
just one and to the UCRA? For the
Yeah, to
plastic,
Kingston,
To
yeah.
Kingston, and that's it, and then the rest is just really
Is
for the
local.
plow and then local?
but that one's fine, that vehicle's fine, but it's just. It's that one, 2 code enforcement, 2 constable cars and Harry's. Now, the supervisor gets to take home vehicle in the policy, but I don't have a vehicle, so.
You can have,
Conference up.
you can have your restrict.
Who put that
I don't
in
know.
there? Who put that?
And actually I should figure out if the highway superintendent's truck is part of our budget or part of the highway budget. Cause he's in our budget.
Hmm. What did we put it as when we did the truck bed? Remember we replaced and did that like $4,000 truck bed or whatever?
Wasn't that Harry's?
Yeah.
That was Harry's.
No, I thought, didn't we get like a utility body on his?
Oh,
Or something, right? We had the back end of it done.
I'll find that.
There
out.
was something,
There was a
it was
quarter-
when Mike was supervisor, no, we had they had done it on one of the other trucks. And then we had the utility, the thing that we sat on for the one parade, those things, that installed happened in like the last 5 or 6 years on
Yeah.
that truck, so I feel like whatever. If Aaron finds that, she
Yeah.
might fund that.
The other garage equipment is the backhoe. So the backhoe that's at the transfer station, the maintenance of that is done through central garage.
And you know if it's been done lately?
Yes, we had it,
Okay, that's.
we had everything redone, actually.
What's the backhoe used for, moving things at the?
Yes, it's
Have you-
used every week, yeah.
Not pushing down, or compressing it.
No, that's no. Okay, good.
But I did bump up. So. I did bump up the tire budget. Just based on my own. Thoughts about that, but in terms of like the vehicles, are we like, let's just buy a truck for Harry, or like, what are you guys thinking?
So right now, you have 100,000 in there?
Now we can this is one thing we were saying we can finance, so
You buy a new truck or a used truck?
I think it depends.
I think newer used kind of. Whichever, we're gonna be putting in the file.
It sounds like we need to include it.
Um,
It's a question how much.
I think, yeah,
Yeah.
we need to include it for that.
Do that when I'm hungry too.
Um, Yeah, I think we need to include it, I think. We need to. I think we need to include, or sorry, if we're possibly making one of the transfer station laborers or transfer station also a buildings and grounds for some of their hours.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if we could get possibly by with sharing the truck, if they only do one trip to Kingston a month and then for plowing, like they.
I did talk
possibly
about
could
that
pay
and Harry said he thought that that truck would be fine to,
To use, okay,
for, not for his truck, but if the second person is working with him. That we don't need to get another. Harry cannot use the transfer station truck for his job,
mhm,
because he's doing way more. He does all of our
yes,
errands.
yeah,
But the transfer, if we have a laborer who's gonna be doing half-time in buildings and grounds, they would be able to use the transfer station truck on those days. If they were hauling around like equipment for grounds or needing to pick up wood to do repairs.
is that what they use the truck for at the transfer station for like local things to pick up supplies or?
They would be, but right now, there's not a lot of leaving the transfer station.
Yeah, it stays there mostly,
Yeah,
right? That's what
yeah.
I'm wondering, if we were able to maybe say. Give them one of the Tahoes that they could still put a wood order on the top or in the backup. And get a new car for code enforcement, give the truck, we're gonna play shuffle with the vehicles, give the truck to Harry.
The transfer station truck is not in great.
Oh, it's
shape.
not capable of doing, it's
Yeah.
okay for the transfer station.
Yeah, yeah,
purpose,
yeah,
Not
yeah,
for
yeah,
Harry's
yeah,
car, oh, okay,
yeah.
sorry, I thought you were just saying overall, okay, never mind, strike that idea. I think it should be ideally, we would get a new truck, so we have a warranty. For at least a few years on it, anything goes wrong, blah, 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 especially since it's a work product.
I think we plan on one truck. Financed, so whatever the down payment will be. Plus cost of the monthly payments. About 40,000. Lower this number,
No, because the monthly payments wouldn't be 40,000, Michael, that'd be like.
no, but whatever we would put down, I don't know what we.
Oh,
put
yeah.
down.
I
We're
think we
buying a
could,
new truck.
I think we could cut it to 40,000 and finance 2 vehicles if we can't salvage or don't think that the Tahoes would last through the year for code enforcement. Or if we want, or if they will, we can get the town-wide vehicle that Erin is saying that she'd like us to get. Erin also found a electrical vehicle grant that we could apply for. I didn't get a chance to read through it all yet, but I started to yesterday. For next year, so we could potentially get 3 electric vehicles for. Was it 95, Erin, or 100?
That one, it had like, that was for rebates, but then they had like places you could do the purchasing from. I didn't really get.
Yeah, I didn't get through all of it, let's see.
Where are we plugging them in? Do we even have a?
No, we don't. I am planning on applying, but though this rebate you can use for hybrids. Okay, so should we drop it to 40 for preliminary budget, drop to 50 for prelim, and then gives us a little bit of time to work on it?
Let's try.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why don't we do 50, why don't we do half for preliminary and then.
And then we'll have some time to plan out the financing and stuff before we go.
Yeah, I can work on the grant and finding a vendor for you, Erin, if you wanna work on the, what we have to do for the, I know
Yeah.
that you looked for some things.
Yeah.
So do the financing side.
Okay, so we're kind of just waiting for. Chair Jones, as we've kind of gotten through everything, haven't looked at benefits. But I'm gonna plug in all the actuals for those.
I was gonna say, I feel like the benefits always just are what they are in the budget, like the actual contracts pricing for the next year.
Yeah, so I have that now and I should be able to plug that in.
So it's 16%, the 15%.
It's going up 6% for 2020, for the majority of 2025, but we pay. It's December to December.
Yes,
So
yeah, yeah.
December 2026 rates are gonna be a 15% increase. One thing I did. Is I should just, I haven't mentioned this to you guys, so on page 16. I put in a stipend for the highway secretary this year. So that would be above the deputy town clerk salary. The reason why I did this is because that person, no other clerk is like basically running the administration of the whole department. And I just think that that is. I mean, I think you could tell in the meeting. But the highway secretary is the one who's,
She's doing most of
she's the one who's keeping. Purchases in line, she's the one looking at the budget, she's the one doing all of that. I work with her a lot, she and I meet at least once or twice a week. Now I put it in at the same as these were placeholders, so whatever you guys wanna do. I put it in as the same as the deputy highway superintendent, just because. I took what we gave for the deputy highway superintendent and I bumped it up. By 4%, and then I put that same thing in for the highway secretary, so that comes out to $60 a week. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's like $1.50 an hour. So I guess I wanted to get you guys, I wanted to get your input on that, because I hadn't really drawn any attention to it at all. And you might not have noticed it unless I pointed it out.
I saw it, I think that it's great, I agree, on all your points about why it needs to be there, I do think. That scale for the highway secretary stipend is fine. I do think that the deputy highway superintendent stipend does need to go up a little bit, and same with. Any of our deputy. Town clerk and our deputy supervisor. We got to see, I mean, Jared, deputy highway superintendent Comfort, he covered for almost a full year, I think, right? Or
9 months.
9 months of the job, had to do overtime, which, yes, he got paid overtime, but he couldn't say no to it either, so I think that it's important that, and he did that all with the same stipend. And that with his salary compared to Jeff's compared to the superintendent's salary. I believe it is odd, I don't.
It's more,
Is it more?
he's the working supervisor.
Well, that's right, I forgot this, yes. But he's in a different tab.
771.
Yeah, I see.
So, do you guys wanna make any changes to this?
You said they still have the 4% in it? For the,
Yeah.
for this actual site.
Yeah. It's 58 a week now, yeah, and this would be 60.
And this is a slightly different case because it's union and collective bargaining and 3.14 wages, but.
For that.
For
yeah.
this specific scenario, but I feel like if. Our deputies are there for if there's an emergency, but when and they have to take cover of that department and that actual person's role. And if that does happen, only getting that, what did you say it was, like $150 an hour? For hours that they, on top of hours they normally do, I just like feel like. We should make sure that they're compensated as such, you know what I mean? And I do like looking at Jared's pay scale against it is. That one equals out, but if we look at like, say, the town clerk and the deputy town clerk, I bet that it probably doesn't, it might not with the stipend. I do have.
So overtime assignment, right?
Yeah.
So 10 hours of overtime, the rate is like $520.
Yes.
Any increase we would make of the same materially compared to overtime.
Right.
I do think that their stipends, I just need this whole picture, I wanna make sure we're thinking of that. For when someone, like, I think of Michael, if you were to, or when you had to cover for. When Mike resigned, like those, like month or 2 months that you were not.
Yeah,
You
I
were
didn't
only
get paid,
acting as
yeah.
the deputy, like you didn't get paid at all, and that is, you did so much work at that same time, Rick, and it just seems so unfair to me, you know what I mean, and. Not saying that it wasn't, that what Jerry's situation wasn't, just no to overtime, yes, who's compensated, doesn't. Especially over the winter holidays, like this doesn't seem,
So yeah, let's bump up the clerk then,
yeah, the. Definitely,
the deputy.
yeah, can we make it,
It's 70 an hour or 70 a week?
yeah, that sounds good, yeah, it's a little bit of a bunch, just cause that seems like I said, when you have to, and I wanna make sure I
Yeah.
look at the clerks.
And how does the highway
supervisors.
superintendent compare to other people in the county?
That one's pretty, typically the highway superintendent in towns is the highest. Paid elected official, it ranges. But in some towns, it's higher than that, and sometimes it's lower than that. So,
We're down to 36.8.
that's 70. I already put the page over. Okay. So we're gonna pivot. And then we'll close out. Thanks for joining us, Rick. We were gonna talk about, planning board budget, so I invited, Chair Jones here, just full disclosure, I did not consult with him when I put together the tentative, and I didn't invite him to the meeting till yesterday. And he was like, well, so he's coming in, I just thought it'd be good to have you as part of the discussion. And I can give an overview of what I did. So
What page,
so we are on page 22. So the first thing I did is the planning secretary. I've moved into a different budget line, so that's just taken care of somewhere else. I put in on page 23, $1,300 for a laptop because we don't have a laptop that can be used during meetings, and all the staff that we have interviewed and that we have filling in would prefer to be doing minutes and things like that on a computer rather than on paper. So I want to make sure we have that equipment there. One thing I didn't consider that came up recently, Rick, that Stacy had brought up, is that maybe we should get some more like building support equipment that is we maybe have budgeted for, but like more cords. And she said that you bring your own stuff, but maybe we should buy
That's okay.
that. But that would not be part of the planning equipment budget unless it was something really specific to the planning board.
All we need is an extension cord and one of those strips. A heavy duty strip that has a circuit breaker in it if there's a surge.
Yeah.
With a surge protector.
Okay,
I bring it now and it'd be a lot easier if we had it and it was somewhere in the lock and key,
Yeah.
so it doesn't wind up. We can't find.
yeah, exactly. And then one thing that I've been wanting to get that I think we can still get out of this year's budget is just better mics. 'Cause I still get complaints for my board, like people. It comes up every other week that people call me and say, I couldn't hear what the zoning board of appeals was saying, or I couldn't hear what your board was talking about.
I don't know whether that thing needs to be lower. Maybe, that seems pretty high to me. And there's one over here, so maybe just lowering them as opposed to something new.
Yeah, we need
It's
one of
the
those.
The ones that you can talk to, right up to.
Yeah, there's also a one that has 3 and it just puts 3 down the
Oh,
table.
like umbrella.
Yeah. But that wouldn't
is
come
great.
out, but are there any other equipment support that would be helpful for the planning board?
I mean, in the ideal world, I love a, was a visual system that people could come and project onto a screen, but that gets pretty dicey. Stacy's been pretty good. We just had a presentation this past 2 weeks ago by Verizon where Stacy was able to get them to plug into, and we didn't lose YouTube. So if you have somebody who's adept
Yeah,
using that stuff, you probably have enough technology right there
yes, yeah,
that it's sufficient.
yeah, okay.
I don't know whether that needs an upgrade.
No, I think we just need like more consistent staffing.
You know what's what
system.
to Stacy? The less I recommend technology. I just want it to work, but Stacy knows how
Yeah.
the ups and the downs of
Yeah.
this thing. So, and I depend on whoever's sitting in that secretarial seat, just make it work,
Okay.
okay?
Out of this year's budget, I'm gonna be purchasing some carts for helping get some of this files that need to kind of be out organized, so I've got those in a shopping cart right now.
Like utility cards, you mean?
Yeah, with file that are open, it's a mail cart.
Oh, okay.
But it just will help. Right now, things get, the only way to organize stuff that you're actively working on is kind of lay things out. But we'll have it so that it's still out, but contained. So next up, okay, I did something in this budget. So for professional services, I'm just like to be really open when I make mistakes. I don't think it means that I don't know what I'm doing, but there's a lot of lines in the budget, and last year I had added $30,000 for town planner into our budget. But I was using a spreadsheet that I didn't build, and even though it was in the budget, it didn't get added. It like that cell didn't. I checked so many of them and I must have missed that one. So I actually I found this recently and I actually kind of had to take it out of the budget, and then I increased. Because what we did is we had Big Church hired as the town planner. So I increased that budget code. It's not reflected in this printout, but I've increased it. Through budget modifications.
Okay, so where it says professional services,
Yeah.
is that Dave?
Yeah, right now I have 15,000 because that was what it looked like he's on track to cost us, even though we said he could work so much. So we had originally thought 30 would be good.
So this 15 is the run rate to the end of the year,
Yeah,
you know. So,
I think it's gonna be more than that based on his last invoice.
Yeah. The bigger the project, the more money we spend.
Yeah,
We're getting into some real biggies.
yeah,
Today, we just spent 2.5 hours with those guys. They want to redevelop Palaka Village,
yeah,
so I can't not pay them for 2.5 hours.
yeah, and that should be part of the town's
That's gonna be the
bill,
town.
yeah.
I told them the next meeting, you're gonna pay, you're gonna
Yeah.
have some escrow, even if you don't have an application.
So let's bump that up to 25,000 then.
I think that's great. The only item I will mention to you, I've heard this swimming around. In the board and other discussions with people. That Dave's perfectly willing to work on the existing code that you just implemented this time last year. And start noodling around with his duplication, with his inartful language. Unintelligible language, like what does this mean? Or the same thing referred to in two places, but called something different seemingly. And the biggest place for that happening is in the conservation subdivision code. Which went from, I'm exaggerating probably, but went from 5 pages to 20 pages. And we're having real problems giving advice, and was sort of. I think this is what it means, or it says that, but that's ridiculous, that kind of stuff. So he's perfectly willing to say, I'll go through it. But that might be a wee bit of,
Okay, so 30,
I would, 25 or 30.
let's do 30. his last bill came in and it was like for the town,
It was 45 minutes. Was the team.
I thought it was 8.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Just to clarify, that's gonna include him going through some portion.
yeah, that's why I just bumped it, yeah.
Can we ask for pieces that we've like looked at?
He's keeping a list of the things that he believes need to be fixed.
Okay, is that something we could see?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he and I we've kind of been talking about like putting together, and I'm working, actually Mary Lou and I are working on it too. We're gonna be presenting you guys probably in December with a local law that fixes a bunch of stuff
Okay.
in the entire code, not just, so it's gonna be every, yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd just be better to close the loop, so we're not duplicating.
So I can ask him to put pen to paper for the things he's thinking of. And I'll give it to you.
Yeah, we actually had, Mary Lou and I have a list of questions for him.
And yeah. Again, the biggest one that I've heard and that I've experienced is around the conservation subdivision. So don't take this in a negative fashion. We want conservation subdivisions, and the way it's being written makes it extremely difficult to do a conservation subdivision. If you
Yeah.
want something, it's easy.
Yes. Yes.
It ain't easy,
If you want something, make it easy. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay,
so we struggle.
we're all for it. We're all for that, Rick.
Okay.
We're not gonna take that the wrong way. Thank you. The next thing I did, and this, you guys can tell me what you think. I just increased the planning boards. They're like going to 2 meetings a month. They're like 5 hours long. Every member is doing meetings outside of meetings, and we have people taking leads on projects. I mean, they're putting in hours and hours and hours and hours. So I just made it a bigger stipend, and let me pull up my notes doc and see if I actually typed in what I budgeted there. So it's not like a hugely enormous amount of money, but it's 3 times what we budgeted. In the past.
So the members currently get $50 a meeting.
Yeah.
And what are you proposing to go to now?
It's like 100.
A meeting?
Yeah, but I was actually proposing like a stipend, which it's up to the board. I have a spreadsheet that has all my notes in it. But I think I was thinking like 2,000, I had like one for the chair and then one amount that I had for the members.
So,
But like input, I just kind of mostly wanted to say, hey, I think we need to recognize this work a little bit more than $250 a quarter.
Yeah.
so my suggestion would be, the members should get. But this is probably, members should certainly get paid per meeting. You know, some months we're only doing 1 meeting. There are other months where we do 2 meetings. And then I have 4 of them who are actively, particularly Peter, but 4 or 5 of them that are actively involved in picking up individual projects, just to multiply my effectiveness. So if you want to give them an annual stipend, okay. But we're not gonna run next year 2 meetings a month, but it's just too much on everybody, on the secretary, nothing else. If you only have 2 weeks between meetings, getting stuff done, public hearing notices posted, you know, for whatever reason, it's just difficult, so I don't know if we're gonna do 2 meetings every month. And then in the summer, we experience quite a number of people who want to go away, and I worry about having a blowout.
Yeah.
So let's say out of 25 potential meetings, we'll probably have some of them meet around 16 to 20 meetings, not 24 meetings next year. That's what I'm thinking of. So you can either give them a stipend with a range of, an annual stipend, range from 16 to 20. Or pay them per meeting. You know, that, and pay them a little bit more per meeting maybe. As far as the chair is concerned, and this is any chair. You know, I think mine should be a stipend, not per meeting. I'm spending about $25 to totally. 25 is a slow,
Yeah,
35 is a busy. And that's just how I choose to do it. To make sure that and even with that, it's for the class. So whatever stipend we think is appropriate for that, regardless of the number of meetings. It's still a lot of work.
so right now, we're giving $1,400 a year to the chair. I have budgeted 4,000. And then I did 2,000 for members. That's what that number is.
So it's very nice of you. Really nice. I know the board would appreciate that, and I certainly appreciate that. You guys gotta manage somebody coming in and saying, that's a 500%
Yes.
increase. So just. 4,000 is.
Well, I think the amount of work you've been subjected to is more than 5%. You know, this image of that.
You have to manage expectations.
Yeah.
Whatever you guys.
We can still do,
With it's-
because I think what I was thinking is 1,000 per quarter for the chair. And half of that we can still do per meeting for plan, because I get it. If you have someone who's not attending,
We need to talk about that because not that there's nobody who's continually on sick. There's one member who, actually two, they have a lot of vacation.
yeah,
And I know we used to have 3 meetings. When you get to
In a
3
row.
In a row. You don't-
but you still can't remove someone. You can, that is grounds, that is cause for removal, but you still have to go through like a removal process.
I'm not suggesting anybody being.
We don't have anyone that's missed 3 meetings in a row, though. I've been looking at the.
So I think for the board members, per meeting, maybe with a minimum per year, something like that.
Yeah, okay.
You get paid X amount per meeting with a minimum of points. And that's more than generous, if that's what matters.
Yeah, so I wanted to draw the board's attention to that, because I just have seen how much work has been going in, and everyone, I know that applicants get frustrated, but the public has so much faith in the planning board right now. And people really feel like everyone cares and is like really working hard to like work in the best interest of the town. And I just like the board, we can change that, we can make adjustments to it, but I do think we need to increase, so.
I agree with us, we need to increase too. 1 second. You guys are the ones who are making the decisions that shape our town. I think that we need to make sure that if people are showing up to do that and sign up to do it, and then also we're attracting the right people to come and apply to do that. So I think that we absolutely need to raise them. I think we should probably leave it as is, and if we do cut it down some, we can do that next round. Or the prelim.
The selection of the current board that you guys have done over the last few months, and it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. There's not one week when, there may be 1 or 2 things in the year end, but that's part of the trail. But everybody's got, their head screwed on right, and they have individual pieces of expertise that are so valuable to the board. Jennifer being part of it, being in the DEP. Alina having run in this area the mining operation for the DEC. Peter is a fireman and knowing everything that goes on in the town, he's got his ears plugged.
Yeah.
We have an architect, we have a lawyer, Hans is a lawyer. When this was Zorian is an engineer.
Yeah.
So we have a really good board.
That reminds me, I do want to keep it as is, because you never know what's gonna happen, but we do have one member that cannot take any money. So our expenditures, if that member continues to stay on, would be less than what we're budgeting. But I do, just because we don't know what's gonna happen, I think it's good to budget for a full board.
Yeah, anyone can do something.
Okay, and then the software is the Municolab, that's just our annual. Then I left the attorney budget line with what it is now, so we recently increased it, that's gonna be on page 9. So planning board attorney. We're matching, basically Dave Church and Gordon Svensson. We're basically giving the planning board a $60,000 a year professional services. Legal and planning budget, so 30 for attorney.
So where is the planning board attorney?
It's on page 9, the bottom.
Oh, I see.
One, it's the $30,000 number on the bottom.
I don't have the 30,000.
It's line number 1,
1422.
420.
Oh, I'm sorry, there it is. Okay.
So I think we're wanting attorney fees keep going up, and when it's not like a lawsuit, we're wanting what we want, given our financial situations, to stick within the appropriated amount. So,
I'm gonna save some money with the planning board attorney this year, because I knocked off one meeting on November and one in December, so 2 less meetings. For next year, I'm not doing any meetings for sure in June, July, August, there's too many people on vacation.
so it sounds like it might work out.
I think
It's been about 1,500 a meeting.
Yeah, and I know I said I was gonna start trying to only have them come for some parts of the meeting. I'm still working on that.
But it has consistently been 1,500 a meeting, it's very predictable, so what you're saying sounds like. We'll probably be able to stick within that and still have the ability, there's still the room for other council. Within this budget, if there's gonna be less meetings.
So 1,500 a
That
meeting.
includes, sorry, that includes outside time.
Yeah, the bill for, it's been about 1,500
Average.
per meeting cycle,
Right, okay.
so like meeting prep, meeting attendance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Calls,
That's not just the meeting.
yeah, just like when there's a meeting, it's 1,500, so the weeks that the months that there's one, it's about $1,500. The months where there's 2, it's about 3,000.
And so if you wind up having 20, which is what I'm shooting for, somewhere between 16 and 20, but that's going on the high side. 20, that would be 30,000.
Yeah,
Okay. Now, does that include, there are times when I get him on the horn, or I go meet with him, Verizon, for Verizon laptop. Does that 1,500 include? How does he bill and does he?
the escrow is billed separately,
Oh, that's right. What am I-
so anybody that's also doing escrow, the majority, they're getting paid. Through their contract, or through working with the town, probably double that annually.
You're right. If I do on Verizon, then that's fine, but that's going to
Yeah.
Verizon, not to the.
Yeah. So,
You should probably, I don't know, but. We're gonna be making a decision somewhere in the next 2 or 3 months on Verizon, so. I predict we're either getting sued by the opponents, or we're gonna be sued by the owners. So we think, I'd
So-
rather be sued by the
Okay.
townspeople, because we can push. We can push a lot of the course onto Verizon, but.
we do have a hard stop in about 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, I was late.
No, it's okay. I'm really glad that you came. And so I did want to talk about planning board fees. But before that, was there any do you have anything else you want to add about the budget, or board members?
Off the top of my head, no, over the weekend, I may think of something, I'll shoot you a note.
Okay.
So I'll do.
Great. We have another meeting Monday morning. We'll be setting the preliminary budget on Monday. That's the budget that the public hearing is on. We can still change the budget, but we can't change the official version of the budget until after the public hearing closes. And then we must adopt our budget by November 20th, but I anticipate the date of adoption will be November 13th.
One thing we didn't talk about was, and I didn't see it, sorry, training.
Oh, I put in, I bumped that up to something.
Where's that on page 23? Just in education.
Oh, yes. It was 425. I bumped it up to 800, so $100 per member and alternate. Should we make,
Why don't you even off to 1,000?
is the board okay with that?
Do you guys plan on using any of the 425 that's there from this year?
Yeah, we've done
Oh, wait,
300
didn't I
of
just
it.
sign one?
Yeah, you
Okay,
just signed
okay,
it.
I just
Yep.
signed one, didn't I?
Okay, so the one thing so a lot of stuff's getting billed to the applicant through escrow, which I think is good in terms of like how like those fees that we don't want to get passed on to taxpayers are covered. However, it does not help the department. So right now, we're only on track to do about 12,000 in planning board fee intake,
Which page?
number 2. And it would be great if there was a way, if we could think about, I mean, you can't make it up, but. And I know that we had the code changed. So it was like, the code changed, we had a moratorium, then we've been working on, there's still a lot of applications that have been in process. But I guess what I'm saying is in terms of staff hours and doing the planning board meetings and things like that, we don't have any, it's like 100% taxpayer funded.
Can we charge a admin fee on top of the escrow?
I would like to think about, and I know I posed this earlier, I would like to have. I think about a model where the fee covers a set of things and is higher, and then escrow kicks in. Like at a specific point, so that the fee we charge covers, like, is higher and also can cover some of the administration on the front end, but I don't really, it's like if applicants aren't going to the planning board, it's not like we can make that, so. Now, the professional services reviews and things are not being billed to the taxpayer, but the staffing hours that, things like that are just like only covered in 20% of that is only covered by fees.
Why don't you just increase the fees per type of project? Because what's gonna happen, the escrow is not going away, so you would say, look, you're gonna get X amount of services. By paying a higher fee, but we're still charging escrow, you're not making any more money, so you might be getting more upfront. But you're gonna wind up sucking to pay for some, it's a subcon to pay for some of the professionals. So what you're earning here, you're giving to the professional, and then above that, you're charging escrow anyway to continue to pay the professional. If on the other hand, say, I'm exaggerating, you double every one of your fees, you go from 12 to 24, and you still have escrow. But that's not income to you, that's income to the professional. So, trying to build it all together into one fee. You're kind of shucking and jiving the numbers, it still comes out to the same thing. You're trying to make them think that they're getting a little bit of escrow paid for. But you're paying the professional for that. You're not increasing your fees, really. Increase your fees, whatever the escrow turns out to be, depends on the size of the project. That's how I works like that. If you want to make a little bit of money to pay for the administrative staff, just increase your fees. Inflation, cost more, you gotta pay for good people. I took a quick look at the fees, the lot line fee is only $100. You have a lot of them, make it 150 to 200, make it 150. Minor subdivision, major subdivision. Do it like, and I forget how it's done, but.
It's done by law, yeah.
Yeah, there's an initial number, and then you add for the number of lots, that makes sense. Site plans suck up a lot of time to this.
Yeah. Right,
And site plans should be double to triple.
yeah,
Special use, the same thing. Every special use requires a site plan.
Right.
So we're really dealing with, especially when you're saying something, so on those, um. You know, recreation fees, I think, right now. You get a freebie as the applicant up to the fifth lot. On a 6, 7, 8 lot, you have an 8 lot subdivision. They only pay rec fees for 3 of the lots, so number 6, 7. Yeah, you started. I think you should pay for the lots. Whatever you pick is on, but you have 1 lot, you go into the building. Yeah, you got 2 more. 1 lot. In the other town, does it almost like is he charging the rent, it's 1 lot or 20 units. Malacca Village, if they go forward, the way they're doing it, it'll be about 30 lots. But 3/4 of the lots will be townhouse type, which might be workforce housing priced. So 30 lots, and you can vary it, maybe single family home versus townhouse versus apartment.
Right.
So 30 times whatever, that's a big chunk of change. Now, will they have the same number of people in one of those townhouses as you would in a single family home? No, possibly. There's going to be 2 bedrooms. So I think we really should get it for every unit of housing, something to pay for what we do here in terms of recreation. Well, I don't ever use the recreation. That's your choice.
The recreation fees actually go into the park. It's a park. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah, if you don't use anything that's offered to you, that's your choice.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is. And
So-
I think a comparative study of other towns would be useful. I checked it 2 or 3 years ago, and we were involved in it very well. I don't know what it is now.
Oh, yeah, okay, we've got hard stops, so I think we should, thank you so much, Rick. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Thanks so much. There at
12:45.
5.
How much? Second was Lisa,
See you all.
all in favor?
Yeah, Rick, thank you.
Opposed?
Sorry that we had a special guest today that was a little noisy.
What's her name?
Sailor,
Taylor.
Sailor with an
See you
S.
guys.
Bye,
Okay.
thank you guys, I'll see you
Sailor on.
Thursday. I'll be trying to send
Sailor, can you say
well,
bye-bye?
our working prelim,
Over the weekend.
Sunday,
Okay,
yeah.
bye.
No, we're not gonna stay here alone. We're gonna
Did
go
you
back.
end the meeting, Michael?
Yeah. Huh, 2 more minutes? Yeah, we're gonna help pack up and then we can go home. You wanna go